so far today is mistakes.
Judkins unleashed. Judkins touchdown.
Look at that pop inside on a kickoff team. I couldn't quite see the number.
Here was Delpit. Grant Delpit, just an incredible placement with that left-handed punch.
That Miami defense, whoa.
For a little bit of a bobble, Judkins gets it back. Judkins spins his way in for the Cleveland touchdown. As Miami begins with possession down 11 from their 30. That one is picked. Campbell, and he will waltz in for the pick six on the first play of the second half. Achane couldn't quite squeeze it, and Campbell in his second game with Cleveland. Massive play for the Browns. Formation here with Judkins. Jenkins' first pick with Cleveland. Judkins bangs it in. Touchdown number 3 for the rookie. And the Cleveland Browns pouring it on here in the fourth.
Hey, fellas, how about that teammate game right there? Yeah! How about supporting each other? How about supporting each other? How about pushing each other? How about celebrating with each other? Okay? That's what it's about in this team game. When we push each other, when we pick each other up, I appreciate how you guys work.
Welcome to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Video courtesy of CBS Sports, the NFL, and the Cleveland Browns. We had to show you that because I don't think you could take our word for it. Yeah, the Cleveland Browns actually won a game. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon with us as always. Gentlemen, we have a quorum. How are we all doing today?
Well, I feel like I missed the memo on the sunglasses, guys. Did I miss something here?
You're not up on Coach Mike McDaniel? I mean,
it is brighter in our studios right now than it was on the field. And we'll just say embattled coach of the Miami Dolphins thought that, you know what, the sunglasses needed to work today because if you look good, you play good. And if you play good, you're not going to win, apparently.
You know, if I was a Dolphins fan today, I would be disgusted. I mean, I'm not saying the Browns are the end-all, be-all, or anything like that, but knowing that, you lost to this team, and I'm looking at my head coach, and I'm just like, this dude doesn't give a you-know-what. He doesn't care. And
and that's what it kind of comes off as with Mike McDaniel, and we'll get into it for sure. But, again, this is the main event here, the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We are talking about the Browns' 31-6 loss, or victory.
We did it today, Rob. We did it.
The Browns' victory, 31-6 over the Miami Dolphins. And, yes, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, had the shades on, was looking good, was feeling good. Team didn't play good, unfortunately. And, yeah, here we are. The Browns, in a game of one-win teams, end up coming out on top. Dylan Gabriel does just enough to win, 13 of 18, 116 yards, no touchdowns, but more importantly, no interceptions. I believe he has about 95 passing attempts in his NFL career without a pick now. So he's doing pretty good with that. But, yeah, here we are. We're making fun of Mike McDaniel and his capris and his big sunglasses and his Michael Kors shoes traipsing around the sidelines. I don't know. Soaked Cleveland Browns First Energy Stadium. And, yeah, I'm a little flabbergasted that we're sitting here talking about, I mean, a win's fine, but a 31-6 win, gentlemen, that's a little screwy.
Yeah, but, here's the thing, Rob, and I know I've talked about it the last few weeks with both of you, but it's progress for the Browns, right? The Browns, at the end of the day, you can say what you want. We want to win football games. But we know that this roster is not competing with the Buffalo Bills of the world. They're not competing with regardless of record, they're still the top dogs in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs of the world. But we do know that the Cleveland Browns have enough talent to beat more, the same level of bad NFL teams. And this is what we ran into today. The Miami Dolphins, who at one point a few years ago were talked about as the new shiny offense, getting Tyreek Hill via trade, Jalen Waddle, a young up-and-coming receiver in the NFL, Tua, before the concussions. Like, this was a team that was supposed to make a lot of noise and challenge the Chiefs. And
they dropped 70 points on the Broncos less than 2 years ago.
Exactly. And to see where they're at now, Rob, in AA, I mean, this is what I said last week. It's silly. I get it. But to think about it, the Browns have a very winnable path, and it started with this game against Miami Dolphins, and they took care of business very decisively against a terrible team, which the Browns aren't great, but they can take care of business against bad teams.
Well, we found out today, number one, they're not the worst team in football. That number one, that's a win within itself. You lose this game, today's show this week is way different. What you do now, and I've been saying this the last couple of weeks, what Eli has said on this show about the schedule, it just sticks with me, because look at the schedule. There are so many bad teams the Browns are facing in this season that I don't think I'm out of line in saying that if you want to make something out of this season, today was a season-saving victory. I don't think I'm out of line in saying that.
No, I don't know if it was...
And not just winning the game, but dominating this game, doing everything that you need to do to prove, hey, there is something worth fighting for. I think today was huge from that standpoint.
I'm not sure if today was a resuscitation or just a stay of execution. It's going to be up to the Browns on what they want to do with the rest of this stretch. Yeah, they got a pretty soft stretch coming up after the next 2 weeks. They got New England coming up, which is not going to be a cakewalk at all. Drake May looks like he's the real thing. And then they got their bye week. But then after that, it's the Jets. It's the Ravens, who we don't know what's going on with them. We got the Raiders, who just got tattooed 31-0. So, yeah, there is a soft part of this schedule coming up. But with the encouraging things for me, and I'm not going to try to say this is saving the season yet. We got a lot to play. The encouraging part for me is that they had a game plan at the beginning of this week. It was run the ball, don't turn it over, play good defense, and good things will happen. Back when they thought it was going to be 70 mile an hour wind gusts, that's why we saw all the Wildcat coming out of today. And that's why, and look at what they did. They got the Friday, they got the Saturday, they got the Sunday, and they executed that game plan. They ran the ball well. Judkins, 3 touchdowns, including a 47-yarder. Good. Dylan Gabriel, I already brought it up. No turnovers. The offense was clean on that respect. Fine. And then we saw what happened with that defense. We saw the couple of highlights there to start the show off. Pick 6, 4 touchdown, and then another interception to line up a pretty short jaunt in for Judkins coming on in. So they did play well, and they executed their game plan, and good things happened. I think the guys on the team needed to see that. The coaches needed to see that. And the entire organization needed that affirmation that, hey, the idea that we have of good football is, in fact, good football. The only problem is, up until now, we haven't been playing it. So we'll see what happens. I know the Dolphins were a one-loss team. Just to tell you where Miami's at right now, if you follow anything Miami sports or Miami Herald related, Greg Cody is one of their premier columnists over there. He's been doing it for about 400 years. And his column today, and this was dropped about 4 hours ago, the headline is Mike McDaniel will be lucky to keep his job after a 31-6 debacle in Cleveland drops Miami to 1-6. It may be time. So I don't think it's that far to say, too, that Kevin Stefanski, that headline could have been about him if it was 31-6 the other way. So
it was going to be about him.
They definitely saved they gave themselves at least a little bit more time to keep fighting. I mean, who knows? It might just be it might be a resuscitation. They might sit up in the middle of the ring like the Undertaker. I know I'm crossing references right now, but or it just could be a stay of execution. They just could have a couple more weeks until the inevitable happens. It's going to be up to them, but at least they now know what their ideal game looks like.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. The Browns, like we've said, needed this win. As much as I keep saying it's about progress this season, and just, Dylan Gabriel, you mentioned, Rob, the stat, 95 pass attempts without an interception to start his NFL starter career. And I think it's interesting to see that everybody in Cleveland knew, regardless if you're just wanting to see the young players develop, we had to win this game. Against a one-win football team, we had to win this game. Andrew Berry made a move recently to get Tyson Campbell, who made the pick today. And that's a big move, and obviously he looks good for Andrew Berry. I think that's very interesting that we all knew that this was a big win today, or needed to be a big win today. So shout out Tyson Campbell, shout out the defense for stepping up, especially with how the leader of the defense spoke earlier this week about, Joe Flacco, and spoke about me, Double A. Rob, I know you're more of a gold and black kind of guy, but I know you rock with us, man, and you feel our pain. So he spoke about us pretty wild.
How do you keep your composure and try and just focus on what you're trying to do while also understanding that there's a lot of frustration amongst Browns fans, right?
Well, hell, we frustrated too. It's not like they can be any more frustrated than the people who are out there putting their body on the line and not winning. No. They wear the colors, they come and support us, and we will be forever grateful. But you can never be more frustrated than someone who's actually in that ring or on that field. And hoping that they continue to support us, and we're going to continue to put our bodies on the line and give everything till we can find a way to start winning and winning in succession. But, man, it's tough. It's tough for everybody.
Well, one thing I do have to say to Miles on that one, and I like the sentiment there. I like the fact that they're frustrated too, but both of us, me and Miles, have to watch the team play every week, and one of us gets paid $40 million. So I wonder if the frustration level maybe for the people who are doing this for free maybe are a little higher. But it is what it is. I do like where they're coming from. I like the fact that they understand that the fan base is pissed off. And how can you not understand that if you're going around Berea, going around Cleveland, and just existing in this town? But yeah, I mean, I Double A and both of you guys said it was a big win. I don't know if it was a big win or if they just avoided a really bad loss. That might be a bigger thing to take out of it, because right now, winning just keeps you alive. Winning, basically you're just trying to save death every week. And yeah, they avoided what would have been a calamitous loss, because yeah, it's good if they won. Hey, it's a great, we have a great taste in our mouth for tomorrow. It'll be a victory Monday. Yay. But it would be a far more emotional reaction the other way if it was 31-6 the other way. So
I think you're mentioning that they stayed alive, which is obviously a W within itself. What I loved about today, early on, Miami's defense, their rush defense, was actually really good. And we have seen time and time again, any lick of adversity on the running attack, Stefanski goes away from the running game. I joked in our group chat that Dylan Gabriel was going to, no matter what the weather is outside, Dylan Gabriel's going to throw the ball 50 times today. I joked about that. Only 18 pass attempts. That is beyond the right way to go about things. Junkins, 25 carries today, and they found creative ways to use them. And Rob, I know you talked a minute ago about the use of the Wildcat. That part of it's really good. But this game showed how the Browns are constructed to win games. If you can finally get a big lead, which they did, you get up a couple of scores, then you let your defense take over. Delpit had a great game, by the way. He had that strip fumble, made other impact plays. So all three phases worked out, and the offense finally did something and didn't go away from their principles. I think from that standpoint, I think it's huge in a blueprint of how, as long as Junkins doesn't get hurt at any point this season, the Browns have a chance.
The one thing they got to keep an eye on, again, you mentioned how Miami was playing us pretty good at the start of the game, rush defense. I don't know if it was that, because Miami hasn't played anybody good rush defense all year. They are by far, when it comes down to yards allowed, the worst in the league.
Well, early on, real quick,
No, and I'll go on early on here. That right side of the line was getting destroyed. And if we want to go on bad things right now, Cornelius Lucas is not an NFL right tackle. He's just not. There's false starts there. He was getting his ass kicked pretty much anytime they were running to that side of the line. And then what didn't help at all, David Njoku was out. Harold Fannin, love you. He's a great rookie. But I don't. I remember hearing the radio broadcast saying that was the first time in his career he's actually lined up on the line as a lineman to block. He has been a receiver the whole way, and expecting him to take over that pass protection and that run help, that was a little too much to ask, especially when you got a freaking turnstile at right tackle. So if they do want to continue with Judkins, if they do want to make this more than 3.5, 4 yards a carry and turn it into 4.5 or 5, then either Jack Conklin has to magically get healthy for the first time in about 6 years, or they got to find an actual solution at right tackle. If it's KT Levinson, I don't know who is it. I don't know if you move Cam Robinson over at this point in time. I don't know if you bring Joe Thomas back, but they got to figure out right tackle if they want to continue to run the ball and lean on it where they have, because that gave them time of possession, that gave them control of the game, that gave them a lead. And then all of that stuff let the defense pin their ears back, blitz for really the first time all year, and let guys like Grant Delpit get aggressive, let guys like Myles Garrett get aggressive.
Right.
And you can actually get some blitz packages and, interceptions and stuff like that coming off it. So they need that right tackle fixed. I don't know if they can do it right now, but they need.
Yeah, because he's getting beat every single week.
Right.
Every single week. He's getting beat on the line of scrimmage. Terrible, untimely penalties. When we lose, that spot has been a hole. It's been a black hole, Eli.
And it's also pretty hard to run the ball when it's 1st and 20 after a freaking hole.
100%. And I think, my stance on the Browns offense has been, for the last few weeks, continue to get the ball to the guys that are the best playmakers on your offense, which are the rookies, Judkins and Fannin. And I know Fannin, I know, Rob, you just talked about he didn't have the best game blocking. He didn't really make
that's not his strong suit.
That right. I get it.
That'd be like asking Patrick Mahomes to play linebacker, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, it's like
the NFL would let that happen,
right?
Could you?
But it's like,
yeah.
He had 4 catches today, I believe 36 yards, nothing crazy for Fannin today. But I guess still making him the leading target receiver, and then getting Judkins involved. That's awesome for the Browns. It's progress. It's a win. Call me crazy. I'm going to get crazy here for a minute. Browns go to New England next week. They're on the road. Okay. I know last week we were talking about 2 words that don't usually get brought up in Cleveland. Wild card. Double A, I want to start with you because you like I said, Rozycki shares in our pain somewhat, but me and you, we feel this is like boom, right in the heart. I want to ask you something. I'm going to start with you. Browns go to New England. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if it's ugly or if it's clean. They go to New England and they win on the road 2 in a row now. Where is your bought-in level that this team could turn it around and actually make it interesting? I'm not saying make the playoffs. You don't have to get on that train with me, but make it interesting enough near the end to think playoffs.
If they beat Drake May and the Patriots, who look phenomenal again against Tennessee, that the schedule makes it interesting. I will say,
come on.
Schedule makes it interesting because then you have the bye, you got the Jets. If you could, then you're beating up some bad teams. I know, like big ticket wise, San Francisco, Buffalo. If Lamar's back with Baltimore, that's going to be obviously a contest. But we've had success in the past for whatever reason against Lamar. Don't be in the conversation. I will give you that. They will be in the conversation if this continues into next week, because that will be an impressive W if they win next week. And Yeah,
Like,
you know what?
in Foxborough?
I think real quick, the AFC is very top heavy right now, but I would say the 7th spot in that case would be up for grabs. We'll be in that conversation for the 7th spot.
So I'm saying in Foxborough, Rozycki, that would be that'd be like a milestone win for this Browns team. That'd be a milestone win.
I think that's the hardest game to win, though. I don't know if you can beat them, but
that'd be a milestone win because they're mopping the Jets. They're winning. If they beat the Patriots, they're winning 3 in a row. They just have to beat the Patriots first.
Okay. Yeah. All we have to do is beat the Patriots. That's been a great line the last 25 years. If it is, okay, the Browns, they're what, 2-5 right now. If they beat New England, that'll be 3-5. Then you got the Jets, Ravens, and the Vegas Raiders. So
you got the Raiders in there too? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Well, actually, and if you want to get down to it, and I hate to feed Eli's paranoia and conspiracy theories part of his brain here, you got the Patriots coming up, obviously. We've gone over that. You got a bye in week 9, and then it's at the Jets. Baltimore comes here. Vegas then comes here. Then the Browns go to San Francisco. That's going to be a speed bump. They're going to have everybody hurt, and they're somehow going to be like 7-2. Then actually it gets a little, you get a little bit of a reprieve after that. You got Cam Ward and the number 1 pick Titans coming on in. So that one is a very winnable game too. The Bears in Soldier Field. That might be your last honest to God shot at a, decent win here, because then you're going to Buffalo, or Buffalo's coming here, Pittsburgh's coming here, and then you're going to see Joe Flacco or Joe Burrow by then. Week 17, 18, it should be Joe Burrow time. So I would think that the absolute ceiling of this team is week 16, 17. They are still in the hunt graphic when we are talking. I don't know if they're ever going to threaten for an honest to God playoff spot right now, if they're ever going to make it interesting. They're not better than the Colts. I know we're hoping that they're better than the Patriots next week. I don't see that being the case long term. The Broncos, they had that impressive win right now with the Giants. They're up there too. You got the Steelers and Bills and Chargers. Those are your playoff teams right now.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind the Jacksonville Jaguars are your 7 seed. Keeping in mind your
Jacksonville about to fall off. I'm not giving you Jacksonville. They're about to fall off.
Keeping in mind your 8 seed as we stand right now is the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're the first team out, and I'll guarantee you they're not going to be the first team out for too much longer.
I get it.
So, and then you're talking about Cincinnati and Texas leaping over them too. At least with Cincinnati, you got another direct matchup. Houston, we've had complicated history with that franchise over the last 2 or 3 years, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I would think that sniffing a in the hunt column would be about where this team
Eli and Rob, I'll give you this. I'll give you a stone cold lock. If the Browns beat New England by Thanksgiving weekend, they will be over 500.
Yeah, I like that.
If they beat New England, and that is a strong if, because I have to talk myself into them beating New England.
But I don't think it is. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Double A, but I don't think it's as strong of an if. And here's my reasoning, guys. They have not really been that impressive against the teams they have played in the last few weeks. You would think after a big win against the Buffalo Bills in prime time that this team would be like super impressive, blowing teams out. They are not doing that. I get it. They did it to the Titans today, but the Saints last week, they struggled most of the game with. And let's not forget that Titans game was close for longer than I feel like it should have been today. I get the final score. They beat up on a Titans team they're bad. They're very bad. We ass, as Cam Ward would say. But at the end of the day, the Patriots are not this team that are just blowing the doors off everybody. I think they are more susceptible to defeat than we're playing up here. I do think if this Browns team, and I get it, they're not going to probably go score 31 in Foxborough. But if this team where they just manage the passes Dylan Gabriel does make, he's going to have to throw more than 18, but make the passes precise, and important and just hand the ball off to Judkins, I think I'm calling it right now. I know early prediction, Browns by 10 next week. Browns by 10.
No.
Browns by 10. Browns by 10 in Foxborough.
I want whatever you have it.
Browns by 10. Browns by 10.
I cannot assume that a team that lost 5 out of their first 6 games are all of a sudden going to wake up and then rattle off 4 straight or 5. Really, what you're asking is a 5-game winning streak out of this. That's where we're going here.
Only a few.
You've already
tough
beat
ones.
Miami,
Yeah,
and then New England, New York, Baltimore, and Vegas.
yeah.
That's a 5-game winning streak. And
Yeah.
I don't see a team, again, that lost 5 out of 6 that is going to suddenly figure out how to be able to do what they did against, because, and again, I love this win against Miami. This defense sucks. This defense is ass. It's historic ass. They can't even blame injuries on it. They were walking into into training camp wondering who the hell is going to play corner, who's going to actually rush the passer. There's nothing happening in Miami right now. They're an NFL team, cool, but when you are dealing with the fact that you have no right tackle right now, hopefully Jack Conklin can figure something out and get back on the field and be effective. Hopefully David Njoku can get back out there and be effective, because I'll guarantee you any other defense, especially New England coming up next week, they're going to crash on that right side of the line, and Dylan Gabriel is going to have a really tough time dealing with life.
Speaking of Dylan Gabriel, he did miss a throw to Jerome Ford that would have been a touchdown.
Yes.
Well, the real route that was missed. But I will say this, Dylan Gabriel, like what I saw as far as operation of the offense.
I think
Right.
he's in a spot where if he needs to do something to lose the job, and he hasn't done anything to lose the job. He hasn't turned all over. He hasn't made any stupid plays.
And again,
tripped under a flag or anything like that, or inflated footballs.
Right.
Or,
and again,
or
if you're
drunk in
projecting
Vegas
right now,
escapades, nothing. We're good with that.
Right. If you're projecting right now, who is Dylan Gabriel? What's the ceiling? You could say, probably, low end QB1, very good backup quarterback for any NFL team. So again, I'm not saying this magical run could happen with Dylan Gabriel just playing lights out. Like if Stefanski gets in the way and says next week Dylan Gabriel's going to have 50 pass attempts, this streak will not happen. That forget about it. It won't happen.
And they took care of them today. They were running the ball well. The defense, kept Miami pretty stifled up the entire game. So he didn't have to. They weren't down 2 scores. They weren't having to hustle a 2-minute drill out. Everything was pretty pressure-free for Gabriel.
And that's my point, Rob. We're talking about, AA Rob, we're talking about this run, and I get it. Maybe I'm a little crazy when it comes to wild card and talking about the Browns in the same sentence. All I'm saying, let's focus one game at a time here. We got New England coming up next. Yeah, we got New England coming up next.
I ain't going to say focus one game at a time. You just said, the Browns might be in the conversation.
I think if you look in the long term, AA,
and
they definitely have a
You
chance.
said AA that they would be over 500 at Thanksgiving. So, yeah, we're
I didn't
all
say focus on one game at a time. I just took the reins and just brought it home.
I said that. All I'm saying is, if we
damn credibility, full speed ahead. Let's just go.
If we just bring it back to one game here, fellas, and we look at this game against New England, all I'm saying is the reason I think they can go on this run, and I think it continues in New England, is because the Browns, unlike a lot of teams that have a terrible start to the year, have the best defense in the NFL. The best. I'm willing to say that out of all the teams, throw stats out the window. I think just watching the games, the Browns have the best defense in the NFL. That's what it comes down to. They just need to manage the game on offense and take advantage of what the defense gives them, because that's what they weren't doing earlier in the year, Rob, is they had opportunities to punch the ball in and actually take the lead early on in games, and the offense would fumble the ball, not necessarily fumble it per se, but not get it in the end zone. And that's the problem. That's why we lost a lot of our games early on, is they want to take advantage of it. They're taking advantage of it today. They punched a score in from the 8-yard line. They are doing that. As long as they do that, they got a shot. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and they do have a shot. And again, I'm very happy they won. It's a whole lot better than losing. And yeah, and I meant what I said before was this team now saw what an executed game plan looks like, saw what happens when you do the right thing at the right time. The energy was there. The defense playing with a lead, I think, revitalized them and let them really just be themselves for the first time in a few games. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely the momentum is going in the right direction. They just got to make sure that they can do something with this momentum. And now, yeah, it's going to be Mike Vrabel, who, remember, out of any other NFL head coach right now in the league, he is most familiar with this team than everybody. He worked here for a year. I'm sure Tennessee right now is trying to figure out why they fired him still. But, yeah, he is, was working here for the year, and now he's in New England. So we shall see. It will be a familiar face. We could probably go on another 10 or 15 minutes about this, and by the end of it, Double A might be saying that the Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl.
Hey, hold on.
Or Eli's going to mount Dylan Gabriel's Rookie of the Year campaign.
No. Don't put that on me. I was focused on
hey.
This guy over here, he might be over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this guy saying like, oh, yeah, we're going to put up 50 against New England. We're going to do it.
I did not say 50. But
Didn't you say win by 10?
Win by 10.
You did say win by 10. Yes.
I'll say it right now. 23-13 Browns next week in Foxborough. 23-13 Browns. See, I'm getting all excited. I'm throwing my headphones.
He just scored over 17 points for the first time all year today.
Right.
And the first time over 20 since December 10th of last year. So that big Monday night game that James had. So, yeah. Let's every journey starts with a single step. We've taken the first step. Let's not try to run our asses off quite yet. Let's see if we can get a second win building on the first win and
Eli.
Maybe a 3 in a row. They call that a winning streak. It has happened before.
Rob, are you bought in? You never answered my question. Are you bought in if the Browns win next week? If they win next week, do they have a shot to make it interesting at the end of the season?
They do, but I don't think they're going to win.
All right, we'll see.
Okay.
That's why they play the games.
That is why they play the games, and in the NFL, stupid shit happens all the time. The Browns' first win of the season was against the Green Bay Packers that nobody saw coming. I get that. But
real quick, our own Chad Bryan of the Inside Edge Network, you hear him on the pregame show, hear him on Legal Formation. He said on our Facebook, after putting up 31 points today, the Browns may have scored their allotment of points for the next 6 weeks.
I mean, I did the number. I think they scored about 39 points in their last 3 games combined before this one. So, yeah, I mean.
I'm just saying. I mean, we'll see. I can't wait to be sitting here a Sunday from now talking about this big win.
No, Eli is right, though, about one thing. I will give him credit for this, and that it kept my sanity. Again, 2 or 3 weeks ago, when I was ready to crash out and be done with this, Eli did say, be mindful of the schedule. And the schedule will give the Browns an opportunity to have somewhat of a successful season.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the Browns are going to suddenly become one of the best teams in football, but the schedule, and looking at some of the other teams later in the show, we're going to, go through some of the NFL teams. The schedule is going to give this team an opportunity to have a successful season.
Yeah.
We'll see what the schedule brings the Browns, and it helped the Guardians out. They had a pretty soft second half of the schedule, and they parlayed that into a playoff run. So, dumber things have happened before. But speaking of schedule, the schedule says we must be taking a break soon. Up next, though, we're going to be talking a little what? We got baseball coming up. We got, NFL coming up. I know I'm looking at it right now. Toronto's up over Seattle 6-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. They're trying to even up the ALCS at 3 games apiece. And we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming World Series matchup one of them is going to have against the Dodgers. And does it really matter what team's coming up there? And, If it is the fate of baseball completely in their hands? We'll talk about that. And obviously, we got an NFL roundtable coming up. Go through some news and notes and then figure out what the shit we learned.
We got Cavs this week.
I'm sorry?
We got the Cavs this week.
Yes. Well, because one of us works on the flagship station of the Cavaliers, and that was the guy who forgot that the season opener is going to be at 7 p.m. in Madison Square Garden against the New York Knickerbockers. It looks like it's going to be the only two teams that are really in the top tier of the East facing off against one another to start the NBA season. We'll get into what we expect over the first 82 games for the Cavs, and if they can do anything with hopefully the 16 or 20 games they have after that in the playoffs. That and so much more. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. He's the Amish-looking one. I am Rob Rozycki. We'll be right back here on the main event Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Moon, are you okay?
I can't believe you. Definitely said it to break, bro. What?
Anytime. There you go.
how far could y'all have went if you were healthy?
I think we would have won it. I'd say that pretty confidently. I think we would have won it. It's just the talent of this group is just out the roof. The will that we have on both sides of the ball, defensive side. We got 2 of the defensive player of the year and I'll say the second best defensive big since we got the defensive player of the year already. So we had with Evan and Jay down there blocking shots, protecting the paint. I think that was going to really help us on that side of the ball. Then Evan growing, Donovan being Donovan, of course. Dre was coming along. Max Strus was coming along. I felt I was pretty good in the first round. So, yeah, I'd say that confidently. I think that we would have.
Well, I like the confidence. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki. We spent the good portion of the first part of the show talking about the Cleveland Browns. And I'll say miraculous. 31 points for the Cleveland Browns is a miraculous win. But now we also have another team in town that's about ready to tip off their regular season. And that'll be happening actually on Wednesday in Madison Square Garden. The Cleveland Cavaliers are embarking on one of the more dramatic regular seasons, I think, for an NBA team out of anybody. I think there's going to be a lot of expectations involved. We all know what happened last time around, an exit in 5 games against the Indiana Pacers. I don't know if you feel any better about it now that we saw that the Pacers made it to the finals and ended up giving Oklahoma City a little bit of a time. But that was clearly not what we were expecting last year to happen. We were thinking Eastern Conference Finals, if not a championship, a championship appearance. The Cavaliers, though, they're going to have a long road to hoe. And obviously, you saw Darius Garland there. He's recuperating from injury. Max Strus is also, too. It's going to be interesting for the Cavaliers going up, starting on Wednesday, because I think you got a fan base here, AA and Moon, that really doesn't want to see regular season basketball. They really want to see what this team can do in the playoffs.
Eli, I'll let you go first. Just want to give credit to SiriusXM NBA
Good
Radio
job.
for that cut. Go ahead, Eli.
Heck yeah. So, guys, I think this is going to be an interesting year. And I know we talked a lot recently about, and I was very vocal about the Guardians regular season not mattering because of what happens in the postseason. And I get it. I know Rob's probably been waiting to have this conversation. We'll have it throughout the season about, well, it doesn't matter until they get to the postseason. I think with the play-in tournament and all that jazz, I think that kind of eliminates that because you're in the play-in tournament, you're 2 wins or 2 losses away from being out of the playoffs. So I think that kind of eliminates that a little bit. But I will say this, Rob, you bring up a very good point. We have a very dramatic regular season coming up, and I think there's a lot of stories to follow that I think will ultimately shape this Cavaliers season. You see Jason Tatum, and I know they're showing him recovering, and well wishes to him, and I hope, the recovery's strong. They're saying he's probably going to miss, majority, if not the entire year this year. Same with Tyrese Halliburton. It's a year where the Cavs can take advantage. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions answered. They moved off one of my favorite players on the team, Isaac Okoro, who very good defender, just couldn't buy a bucket offensively. And they brought in Lonzo Ball, everybody knows him. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how he gels. I have some takes. I think I'll save them because I know we aren't going full Cavs today. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how Lonzo Ball gels. I'll leave it kind of as a cliffhanger because I think he's going to play a pivotal part for this team. And starting off the year with that second unit, Larry Nance coming back, I think it's going to be like NBA Jam on that second unit.
Well, I don't know how much we're going to get out of Larry Nance. I mean, I don't know if he is quite in the Tristan Thompson category of old and busted. He is 31. He is coming off a pretty substantial injury last year for Atlanta. So I don't know how much we're going to get out of him. I think it's going to be more veteran leadership. I love Lonzo Ball. I was talking to Sam Amico actually on another job a couple of days ago, hoopswire.com. And he was likening, Lonzo Ball to maybe a Drew Holiday type, maybe, that ultimate defensive scrapper that's sitting there that could come off the bench or start depending on whatever situation you have. And yeah, we haven't mentioned yet too Thomas Bryant, that pesky Pacer squad lost one of their players to us. He is basically a 6'10" power forward with anger issues, and that's kind of what we need on this team. And between Bryant and Ball both, a lot of toughness is now going to be on that second unit, is going to be in that bench. And, Bryant also helps out too at front line that, quite honestly, is pretty damn good, but is going to have to make up for, when healthy, 2 guards under 6'3". So you're going to have some size up there. DeAndre Hunter, he's going to be in the starting lineup now. They acquired him midseason last year from Atlanta. It looks like he's going to be taking Max Strus's spot at the small forward. He's going to be a 6'10" small forward. So yeah, we got 6'10" at the 3, we got 6'10" at the 4, and then we got 7' Jared Allen now at the 5. That's going to really help out that undersized backcourt. And then the toughness on top of that. I like what the Cavaliers did this offseason, even though they didn't have a whole lot of options available. But it is going to be interesting to see how, especially Lonzo Ball and Thomas Bryant, both kind of integrate into things.
This season starts and stops with a ton of things, but it starts and stops with the most expensive starting lineup in NBA history, basically.
Actually, AA, we have the most expensive roster in the league today.
Right now. And that's what it's going to come down to. Can Donovan Mitchell get over the hump? Donovan Mitchell, if you didn't realize this on a national scope, I know NBC is going to start airing NBA games again this year. Everybody's excited about it.
Shout out Montez from Ball Rock.
Yeah, if I didn't know any better, according to their promos, Donovan Mitchell's the face of the NBA. If I didn't know any better,
he's a legitimate top 10 player.
Yeah, I'm not just top 10. According to the promos, Donovan Mitchell's the face of the NBA.
Well, and
so face of the
I don't want to
NBA.
digress too much on that, but do you have anything to? I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that he's a top 10 player, but if you take all the players who weren't born in the United States out of it, he's now a top 2 or 3 player. That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to come down. It's so weird because I'm very intrigued by the regular season, but like the second season is going to matter way more for people who are like, is this team finally going to be able to get over the hump? And it's going to start with Donovan Mitchell. And also what I'm really going to be watching game by game is Evan Mobley going to finally become one of the elite players.
Well, and that's
in the game. And that's it. Real quick, that's going to come obviously with ball handling, his size. Can he make that actual impact in the paint and stretch the floor on a night in, night out basis? That's what I'm going to be watching a ton of game by game. Evan Mobley, can he finally become one of the elite players in the NBA this season? We've been talking for years about whether or not Evan Mobley can finally become that full unicorn that he was drafted to be all those years ago. This is the year where it has to happen.
Yeah, it is. And I think, that's where the Cavaliers have the most room for improvement. We can talk about the additions. We can talk about the subtractions. But when you get down to it, if you look at the core, Donovan Mitchell, he is a finished product. I don't think he's going to develop into anything better than he is, and that's pretty damn good. I'm not trying to disparage that. You can probably say the same thing about Darius Garland. He is not a young player anymore. He is not – I don't think we're looking for a ceiling on him. He is what he is. The only real – and Jared Allen, obviously the same way. I think he's the oldest one of the crew, and him and Mitchell are, I think, around 30. The only one who has a significant leap to make in that core anyway is Evan Mobley. But the problem is that when healthy, and we'll see what happens. Darius Garland just started 5-on-5 drills. They're thinking maybe November, maybe then, about a month from now, who knows? But when that core is fully healthy and when that roster is fully healthy, Evan Mobley on any given night is a third option. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, they're taking shots. And if you look at it, shots per quarter, Donovan and Darius stay roughly about the same, between 4 and 5. Evan Mobley, he starts out around 4.5, and by that fourth quarter, he gets down to about 2. So obviously, I think they throw it to the veterans, to the guys who've been there a little bit, to take those shots. And as long as that's the case, I don't know if we're going to see Evan Mobley completely blossom offensively. At least he has a Defensive Player of the Year already, but I don't know if he's going to be that 30-point a night Giannis MVP candidate. He might be a jack of all trades, but it's going to be tough for him to develop offensively as the third option on the
real quick though. And I know Eli's going to jump in here. I think that has to change. I think, especially if you're going to get past the Knicks. I know Orlando's slated to have a great season this year too. I think that shot develop like that distribution may have to change a little bit, and I don't mind if you intentionally and look, it may or may not cost you some regular season W's if you try to change a little bit of the offensive.
Oh, I don't care about W's. As long as they're in the top 6, I don't care how many winning streaks they have. I don't care how many wins they have, as long as they're in the top 6. Like, that's why it doesn't matter to me.
We had 64 wins last year, top seed in the Eastern Conference. Again, there's going to be a stretch, right now, and even when Garland's back in, I think Mobley cannot be the third option on this offense. He can't. I don't think that should be the case. I don't think that's the right way for playoff success. I don't think that's the right approach. I think you got to find a way to make him at least the number 2 option. Then one of those, either Mitchell or Garland, they may have.
That's the question. Who takes the back seat? Is it the guy who is a top 2 or 3 face in the league right now on all the commercials and who knows all that? Or is it the guy who just on a podcast said if he was in the lineup, the Cavaliers would have won the title? You got 2 pretty big egos there. Are they going to, either one of them or both, going to want to sit down and let the young kid actually run the shop?
Mitchell has shown that he can step back and facilitate the offense. He has shown the ability to do that. It's going to also depend on what he's asked to do. But that's a great question. I think, Rob, that question might be the top question of the season in terms of how this rotation is going to go with the Cavs.
Yeah, but I think we need to chill out, guys, a little bit on Evan Mobley, to be honest. I think we're kind of talking about how he needs to make this next leap and all this. Like, he didn't just win Defensive Player of the Year. And he really did turn it on near the second half of the season offensively. I mean, I don't think he needs to be the first. Yeah, and I don't think he needs to be the first option offensively. I mean, let's not forget that this guy still isn't 25 years old yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he is still developing, and I think we're holding him accountable when there really should be a guy. Double A played a clip with a guy at the beginning of this segment, Darius Garland. That is who should feel the most heat going into this season. I know he's rehabbing. I get it. When he gets on the court, he is going to feel the most heat. I guess since we're just diving right in, the reason I bring up Lonzo Ball and how pivotal he's going to be is because I think if Darius Garland doesn't step it up this season, we're looking at to see if the Cavs can try out Lonzo Ball, see if he can get his legs under him to do starting minutes, and the Cavs will look to strengthen the roster elsewhere because Darius Garland is a top 10 pick. And yes, I love his passion, and he has had some highlights and some moments here in Cleveland. But he is not healthy when the Cavs need him most, or he doesn't show up when the Cavs need him most. And
if your big problem is physical health, Lonzo Ball, I don't know, is the solution to that one.
I get it. That's why I said if the Cavs, or rather the Cavs are waiting, in my opinion, I don't know this for sure, but it seems as if the Cavs are waiting to see if Lonzo can get his legs under him to be that starter. Let's think about it. He doesn't need the ball. He's not a ball-dominant point guard, as in he's going to take a lot of shots. He doesn't mind facilitating. He's going to play good defense, so you're not losing anything. In fact, you're gaining on the defensive side of things. I think ultimately the Cavs are just going to see how this shakes out. They're going to let Garland get back, and then we're going to see. And I hope it's just meshes, that Garland does this thing. Lonzo's strong on the second unit. But there's a reason they brought Lonzo Ball in, is not to play second unit. I'm just telling you.
You brought up that clip that we played. That clip actually pisses me off because how can you say that and you were the one that was hurt and you're the one that's not available, Garland, when it matters most?
Right.
Like, how can you say that? Like, you haven't been past the second round. How can you say that?
Right.
And you're not healthy. And I can't trust that you're going to be healthy come this playoff run this year. And that ties into the fact that teams know that the Cavaliers, when things get tough, are not mentally tough enough to get to that next level until proven otherwise.
And that's where I know Kobe Altman tried to address it on the bench with Thomas Bryant, with Lonzo Ball, but I think you do make a good point, or leads into a good point, Double A, that you can talk about toughness with the bench and the second unit and the ancillary players all day. That core is going to have to toughen up. You're going to have your best players toughen up. And really, I think if we want to sum up this whole, what needs to go right for the Cavaliers, I think all three of us have mentioned it at different times. They need to stay healthy. They need to keep intact. And they did a pretty good job of it last year for the first 80% of the season. Mm-hmm. And then you guys remember it went from pretty much, 2 weeks out, we're fine, to, oh my God, the playoffs are here and we got 4 guys out. If it's, DeAndre Hunter missed some time, Jared Allen was missing time, Darius Garland missing time, Donovan Mitchell should have missed time. We were the walking wounded. And I think, it's natural to say that if they're healthy, we're good to go, but it's going to have to come on them to stay healthy. And Kenny Atkinson and that organization did everything they could last year to make sure that they were going to be healthy. They did load management. They played 11 guys. Like, the minutes were spread out. They made it as user-friendly as humanly possible. And that didn't stop, the first hard contact a week and a half before the season of ending the whole thing. So they're going to have to stay healthy. And I don't know if that's a style of play thing too, or if that's a conditioning thing, or if that's something else. But if they stay healthy, they're the only weakness you can really say is mental toughness. So stay healthy.
And the Cavaliers as an organization, they got to be more transparent with the fans in terms of the health and status of.
Well, because they make their guys look like baby back bitches. That's what it is. They're day to day, and then they sit out. They're day to day, and then they sit out. If they just said that they were out, going to be out for a week, no one would care.
Exactly. Like, I thought I will. To be fair to Darius Garland, to be fair to what Rob just said, when you're reporting. When the team reports that it is day-to-day, we're inside. They knew this is a little bit more serious than day-to-day. Like, all of a sudden, you put extra pressure, unnecessary pressure on the player, because all of us as fans, media, whatever, we're sitting there like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Like, the team has to do a much better job. I know they're more proactive on injuries than some of the other teams. And the players like that. And I know that works to detriment in some way, whatever. But I think the team has to do a better job. Hey, if somebody's going to be out, just say at least a week.
Right.
They're playing coy. They don't want to tip their hand. All that Kevin Stefanski bullshit of who's the backup quarterback going to be. Oh, my God, that's going to change the game plan. That's what they're trying to do, is gamesmanship. And, really what they're doing is making their own guys look like bitches. They really, really are. And they're not. I'm not trying to say they are. I am not trying to allude to that at all.
Right.
But the optics of it does not look good. And the team can help that out for sure.
But I will say this, though. I'm so excited about the season. To put a bow on the Cavs, like, it is amazing. Because I know people have issues with LeBron, and I get it. I know this is not the conversation for that. But we have truly seen this team organically start from the bare bones bottom back in 2018. Rob, we were together in 2018 at TAM when I will never forget. LeBron just left. He went to the Lakers, and I'm board hopping the Cleveland Indians playoff game against the Astros. It was a Monday afternoon, and they were swept by the trash can cheating Astros. And Nick Camino is doing a post game on Afternoon Drive. The post game lasted 45 minutes and some change because it was Afternoon Drive, got to do traffic, all this other stuff. I will never forget how depressing it was to go from the highs of playoff baseball to, oh no, Colin Sexton basketball.
Well, I remember LeBron's last year, and I'll go a little bit behind the scenes on this. In the radio business, you call it a billboard, and before the game, you hear Cavalier basketball brought to you by, locally by, company. And when LeBron was here, it was, brought to you locally by this car dealership, that bank, this credit union, Chico's bail bonds, everybody. Literally half of Cleveland was advertising at the beginning of the game. The first game after Colin Sexton era begins. JB Bickerstaff. No, I'm sorry. It was
John Beilein.
Beilein patrolling the sidelines, and it was Cavalier basketball brought to you locally by somebody. Moving on. It was 2 seconds long. And and I know that's ad money. That's inside radio baseball, but that is a pretty good representation of just how fast the air just zipped out of that balloon. And to your point, Double A, that's why I do like this team. Is the fact that they are not a super team. They haven't brought in hired guns. They're not in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. They're not looking to pick up Giannis. They're kind of immune from all of the NBA gossipy bullshit that's around because they have built it from the ground up. And now current labor laws say that you really can't add on to that because it just costs too much money. But they have built it from the ground up. They have, we have watched this thing mature. And I just hate to think, though, that if something doesn't happen this year, either they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, win the East, whatever. We'll figure out what happens to the West whenever it happens to the West. But if they can get out of the East, unless they can get out of the East, things like trading Darius Garland is going to be back on the table. Things like trading Jared Allen, and they're going to have to seriously look at breaking up this core, A, because of the on-court success or lack thereof, and B, and mainly because the money. Like, it's going to be an expensive team to keep together for another year past this one. It's already the most expensive team in the league. So, if you're rooting for this team and you want them to stay together, root for them to keep winning.
Rob, Double A, this is my final point. And you know what, Rozycki, you told me this in one of the first episodes of us being back about another team in the city. Team starts back up this week. All I can say is enjoy the journey. Let's go for the ride.
We should hopefully it'll be a pleasure journey here, and we'll be all happy with that. But we all know too it's going to be interesting. There's going to be bumps in the road for sure. So we'll be with you the entire way. We will be rest assured of that one. But other than that, I cannot make any guarantees on what is going to happen with this team. I can't make any guarantees of what's going to happen really in the next segment. But on that note, we will be taking a break. Hopefully. Coming up next, we'll be talking a little baseball. We got the LA Dodgers in the news, and we have now basically the Mariners and the Blue Jays vying for this to see who's going to take on the Dodgers for the soul of Major League Baseball, because the Dodgers want to kill it, and we'll see if the American League can get in the way on that one. And honestly, I'm going to ask: is it even a good thing if the American League does win the World Series? We're going to come back from that one. I got a little bit of a change of tune from the last few weeks here because I think we might have to burn this fucker down to save it. This is the main event. We got Eli Moon. We got Anthony Alford. We got baseball talk coming up. Also, NFL Roundtable, some news and notes. We'll be right back here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Right back in a couple of minutes. See you soon.
I'll tell you, before this season started, they said the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Let's get 4 more wins and really ruin baseball. Let's go.
Yeah, that might need to happen, actually. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We have Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. Part 3 of 4, gentlemen. We're going to be talking a little baseball, and right now, baseball is in a very precarious situation. As we're talking to you right now, the Game 6 of the ALCS has gone final. The Blue Jays have taken out the Mariners 6-2. That means the series is tied 3-3. A deciding Game 7 will be happening, and the winner of that will get those LA Dodgers, who are looking for 4 more wins to ruin baseball. And yeah, of course, they're talking about the massive economic disparity between the Dodgers and pretty much everybody else in baseball. But it's definitely a weird situation because you know what? I'm rooting for it to happen. I really, really am. I hope they win. I hope they sweep either the Mariners or the Blue Jays. No disrespect to either one of those guys. I like watching Vlad Guerrero, big dumper. He's cool too. But I hope they sweep. I hope Shohei Ohtani has a 3-home run game and doesn't win MVP of the series because Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and Tommy Edman and everybody else went completely out of their minds. I hope they pitch 4 complete games, all shutouts, and just take this thing and then win 120 games next year and sweep through the playoffs the year after that. Because if that's what it's going to take for some of these owners to get it through their head that they need a salary cap in baseball, then so be it. We might have to burn this bastard down so we can save it.
Yeah.
You want just salary cap and floor? You want a salary cap and a floor?
Yeah. When I say I want a salary cap, that means it's automatically assumed you want salary cap and floor. For those of you who don't know, floor means you have to spend X amount of dollars, $100 million, 150, whatever it's going to be, whatever they're going to negotiate on. Because, yeah, and that's actually why a lot of these owners don't want it because, the Bob Nuttings of the world in Pittsburgh, even the Dolans out here, you got, Miami Marlins, you got the Tampa Bay Rays. Some of them are legitimately saying they can't pay that kind of money out and still maintain the team. So, yeah, they're going to have to figure out a way to make sure they can maintain that team if it's more revenue sharing, more, TV money kind of being, moved around the entire league as opposed to just a local by local thing. But, yeah, when we talk about cap, we also mean floor too. So, yeah, baseball definitely needs that.
And here's the thing. It just comes down to a few things. One, we talked about this earlier on, a few weeks ago, on the show about it's disappointing as Guardians fans when we talk about big names like Kyle Schwarber and these guys coming into Cleveland and producing for us. And in reality, we know we're not getting them more than likely. Come on now. But it's sad because we're not the only franchise like that. Rob, you mentioned some other teams, Pirates. These teams that look at the Twins. They really haven't been spending crazy recently. Just these teams that you may get one big get for the decade, and that's it. And I think it's that's one. It's a shame that we have to get to this point where we're like, Rob literally is turned into like a Dodgers fan for like the next foreseeable future. And
unless
it's sad.
If the Guardians can take these guys down next year, then screw everything I just said.
I've lost my friend.
We're gonna nuke this segment if.
Well, I was even thinking about that when the Guardians were still alive. It was like, hey, if they go through and somehow make a run, if they can get through the ALCS into the World Series, is this going to screw up the argument that you do need a salary cap? So. Yeah.
Now that the Guardians are unalive, this conversation is I go.
Now Rob's a Dodgers fan. But no, it's here's my thing too, is like I said, it's a shame that we've got to this point that we have to feel like, well, there's no chance, just let the Dodgers steamroll everybody and let them do their thing. Because when you put it up, lineup card against lineup card, My dad was Papa Moon was my manager in baseball growing up. And look, we're not professionals or anything, but you knew when the other team had it, they put their card against yours. You're like, look, you're in trouble. And that's what it is. And number two, I think it falls back on this too. The marketability of the league. I think a salary cap, I'm not a fan of cap. I get it, Rozycki. So, because, I know we were talking a little bit off air about TV deals and all that fun jazz about the Dodgers having a little bit more to play with than maybe the Guardians per se. But at the end of the day,
got $196 million in their TV deal just this year. The Guardians got $55 million.
I get it. But all I'm saying is they're all billionaires. They all make a ton of money and they can spend and at least be competitive. And I think that's why marketability is lost, though, in baseball, is because if it's not the Dodgers or the Yankees, and then fill a few other teams in from time to time that get a big name, then you aren't really watching. You're not walking around with a jersey. Nobody, as much as I love them, nobody is walking around with an Austin Hedges jersey. They're walking around with Juan Soto jerseys, regardless of how you feel about it. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, that's what they're walking around with. And I agree. I think there should be some sort of limit both ways. As much as I don't want it, I think they should just be able to spend as much as they want. I think that, though, will help the marketability of the league because then maybe Cleveland is back into play to get a big name. And you can watch Cleveland versus Baltimore and be like, dude, these are two of the best players in the game playing tonight.
Well, you need the money there. You definitely do need the money. And one thing that if we are talking TV contracts real quick, the Guardians were affected. So were the Twins. You mentioned they weren't spending. The Diamondbacks. And there were a couple other teams that had these local sports contracts with the Diamond Sports Group that went away. We are actually on the Inside Edge Network here more functioning than Diamond Sports right now. So that was money that we were getting, and that's why
I've organized the Inside Edge Network budget, so I can confirm that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Double A. Good job. Let's go.
And because of that, though, the $55 million the Guardians were supposed to get, that wasn't guaranteed. Same with the Twinkies, same with all those guys. And it's not even settled for next year, too. ESPN is going to be streaming the Guardians games and I think all the other teams that are kind of included in this. So, I mean, when you're talking about that kind of economic disparity, and I understand they're all billionaires, but there's a difference between, Larry and Paul Dolan here and the Guggenheim Group that owns the Dodgers. Like some of these, we're talking about some of these mutual funds, some of these venture capital groups that are worth literally billions of dollars who, can just sniff at a $500,000 budget for a payroll and move on with the day. So
I get it.
That does need to get equaled out. And you're right with the exposure of it. You saw with the way this game is being talked about with the playoff schedule. That first round, I think we bitched about it on this show, was why is the Heartland Series, Detroit and Cleveland, always at 1:00? And the only time they weren't at 1:00 was when there was 3 games instead of 4.
Right.
Because they wanted to stash New York up there. They wanted to stash the Dodgers. They wanted to stash all these big money teams. And New York and Cleveland, or New York and Detroit, or Cleveland and Detroit were playing when people were taking their lunch break. So try getting new fans that way. That's not going to happen. So, I think that goes into the way that baseball handles really the whole thing. Again, with having the weekday playoff games in the afternoon, why do you need to do that? Like when you start talking about, the focus you do put on the national TV schedule with New York and LA and Boston and all that stuff, this is kind of seen as a coastal sport right now. And the folks like the Guardians or the Royals or the Pirates or the Tigers, tend to get kind of flown over and ignored.
It's appropriate that it's raining outside because, in movies, when something tragic or something bad is happening or anything negative, it's raining. Nobody experiences a breakup in Hollywood in sunshine. That just doesn't happen.
True story. When the Guardians were rolling through, that run of September and they had like that 10-game winning streak, we were talking, me and Nikki, my girlfriend, were talking about, what's going on with the team. And I was going to go out to check the temperature. And I opened the door and right then and there, a thunderclap hit and it started raining and the Guardians lost about an hour later. So, yeah, I agree with you there. The foreshadowing was imminent.
Let me ask you guys this, set up a question with a question. When you watch the National Football League, do you feel like all 32 NFL teams are attempting to win the Super Bowl going into the season? All 32 teams.
No.
Are attempting at least in a
93%.
I'll give you 3/4. I'll give you 80% of the league.
90 to 93%.
But right now, the Browns aren't trying to win. The Saints aren't trying to win it. The Dolphins aren't trying to win it. Like there's about 5 or 6 teams every year. But I'll give you the fact that the majority of the league, the majority of the time, is trying to win.
What about the NBA?
Yeah, for the most part, now with the play-in and now having a chance to get the play-in.
Like,
well, when you're looking at a Western Conference, you're looking at a Western Conference where it's the Jazz and then everybody else is trying to win. Yeah, it's you're kind of talking, okay, and it's not the same team every year too. Teams bottom out, they look for the number 1 pick in any sport. So
and again, I'm not asking who has a chance. I'm asking who is
trying.
Who is trying.
Yeah, and I'm saying anybody who's not tanking for a draft pick is trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How about Major League Baseball?
Ooh.
Half.
Yeah, maybe half. Maybe.
Now we do have an expanded wild card in baseball too, and that's kind of breathing a lot of life into it also. But
no, different question. I'm asking when the rosters are put together, like going in, are you going all in to win a World Series? Because I can make the argument that even the Guardians are making a choice in terms of, let's put a competitive roster together to win regular season games and have a place in the playoffs, but that may not mean they're going all out to win a championship.
Right.
Now,
well, there's a difference between trying to win and going all out. First off,
no, you're right. You are right. What I'm saying is, in this sport, you got to make that choice. However, and the reason why I don't mind seeing this burn down, the Angels could have kept Shohei Ohtani. They could have kept him. Ohtani did not start his career with the Dodgers.
Well,
they also kept him. The White Sox, we talk about like all these teams, in the big markets. If you didn't know any better, the ownership of the White Sox, you would think that he runs a baseball organization in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the way he runs that team.
Yeah.
And that's not even to count the Pirates who don't try. The Oakland A's who spent 20 years basically doing whatever they can to move their team to Las Vegas and then turn around and blame the fans for not supporting their team. We're not talking about Colorado, who has, again, along the right, one of the historically bad franchise right now. We're not talking about the Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale Marlins, who occasionally builds good teams and then every single time blows it up. That's the problem. And I mentioned to you guys in the pre-show, share with the audience, we know what's probably going to happen in 2027. That's when the CBA and that's when it all is up and the lockout can happen at, I think, technically December of 2026.
About a year from now. I think the CBA runs out December 1, 2026.
Oh, correct. Okay. So if there is a lockout, everybody is saying like, we're going to get this fixed. We're going to get this fixed. It's going to help put the small market teams in equal balance with the Dodgers. What if I told you that some of these owners who don't spend at all, they barely spend. What if I told you if there's no 2027 season, they're out of the business?
Then they can sell the team to somebody who can run it. But then they can sell the team to someone. If you're pissed off that your owner doesn't spend and he is going to be forced to sell the team because of get rid of the team because of a year of lost revenue, you should be rooting for that to happen. If Bob Nutting says, well, because I can't make any money in 27, I got to sell the team, there's going to be a parade in Pittsburgh with Willie Stargell and Roberto Clemente just won a title. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. I think honestly, that might be a good way to kind of purge some of these owners that are just content cashing checks. If there's no checks to cash, then why are we doing it? And the other thing I want to say too, to Double A's point about teams trying to win, not trying to win, that kind of thing. Maybe some of the reasons why, and I'm not saying that these owners aren't cheap bastards. Some of them certainly are. But what if I am the Dolans and I'm sitting in? I think that's a good example because I think they do want to win. I think they do want the team to do well. But the Dolans know to get on the Dodgers and Yankees level, you're going to have to drop $300 million in an offseason, not just on the total contracts, but you're going to have to add 250 to 300 million to your payroll just to get up to that. If you had a cap and maybe trying to win instead of 300 million cost you only 100 million, or 150 million, half the money that it would, if it was a much more attainable price to put a team out there, maybe some of these teams would actually do it.
Yeah, and I think it's
go ahead, Eli.
I just was gonna say I think it's eye-opening, Double A and Rob, that the Brewers, who were America's sweetheart, Rob, we talked a little bit about baseball for a moment, I believe.
Yes, rest in peace, Uke. Yeah.
Yes, before Double A was living life on the edge, but we were talking about the Brewers and. Yes, they were for the most part homegrown. I mean, I know they've made some additions. Every team makes some additions, whatever. But I mean, guys that have been there for a long tenure for the most part, and they just got smoked. Yeah. I mean, they got absolutely obliterated, and that's should be one of the biggest eye openers, if not the last 10 to 15 years alone. You can look at moments in time where it's just big dog ate little dog, but you can have the most overachieving homegrown team, but if they don't go out and get those star players that make or break a team, we talk about it in every sport, how stars, we lead most of our segments on any talk show, ours, whoever's, with the stars. If you don't go out and get those guys, then you got guys that are more often than not supposed to be in that spot, ending your season, making or breaking it.
And if the stars are on the same team, I mean, you only have one team to promote. Even the Yankees right now are not matching the arms race right now, which is probably
nobody is, and that's nobody is. There's not even we are dealing with a reality right now. You talk about stars, Shohei Ohtani, MVP. We saw what he did, in the clinching game of that NLCS, 3 home runs, 3 for 3, and then going on the mound and throwing 6 shutout innings, a 10 strikeout ball. Okay. He's a star in his own right. You got Will Smith on that team. He's a perennial all-star catcher. You got Mookie Betts on that team, another MVP. You got Freddie Freeman on that team, another MVP. Your top 3 hitters are all former or current MVPs, and you got a couple of guys on the roster, again, with Will Smith, with Teoscar Hernandez. Tommy Edmonds actually moving around right now. He's becoming a star. These guys are good. And we haven't even talked about the pitching. They got 6 guys, it seems like, that would be aces on any other staff, including Ohtani. You got Blake Snell on that roster. You even got Kershaw on that roster, who's kind of an afterthought right now because he's 104. You got Yoshi Yamamoto. All he did was pitch the first complete game in the playoffs in 8 years last week. All of these guys are complete and utter absolute aces. Tyler Glasnow is an ace. They got 4 aces for the first 4 playoff games. Yeah. The Yankees don't have that. The Red Sox don't have that. The Cubs don't have that, let alone a team like the Guardians or the Tigers. We saw it with the Tigers. If you got past Terry Skubal, you were probably going to win the series.
Yeah.
You see with the Guardians, you get through Jose. Obviously, I know he's a hitter. But every team kind of has the 1 or 2 guys you got to get through, except that damn Dodger team.
And the crazy thing about the Dodgers, the regular season, they didn't
give a shit.
Yeah. Did they win the division?
They won the division. They did not get a bye.
Yeah, right. So
they were the 3rd seed.
Regular season, I mean, they were not scoring the regular season at all.
They were the LeBron Cavs cruising to a 55-win season, being in the top 4, and knowing full well the real work's going to start when the playoffs start. That's exactly what they were doing.
Here's the tough thing about this conversation. To be fair about this conversation, baseball is seeing record ratings. I mean, compared to, recent past, I mean, basically, the ALCS, pretty good numbers, even with Toronto in it. Pretty good numbers. The wild card round, the division series, great numbers. All the networks in the regular season have seen record numbers. So, in terms of baseball leadership, do they have an incentive to change anything?
No, but not right now. But they do.
The leadership, we'll see what the owners say. But
right,
yeah,
and
leadership, I don't know.
And I think they'll see AA once fans start actively not showing up, because we live in a world where people make their opinions felt. Especially, I mean, so you think they're not going to make their opinions felt on our baseball team or any baseball team that's not doing, at this point, it'd be like putting on the same TV show, same episode, and just watching it, rewinding it, watching it again. That's like what we're watching right now with baseball. They wonder why there's a disconnect, and fans flock to the NBA. And because there's tons of stars there, you can choose one. There's 10 to 15 of them you can become a fan of. You wonder why you flock to the NFL. There's stars there, and there's also storylines with the team. There's a culture built with those teams for the most part. You go to the MLB, yes, there's a story talk of the Yankees and all the pennants, and the Dodgers are a historic team, and the Red Sox in Fenway Park. But you just talk about the big dogs and nothing else, and there's no reason to buy into the regular season, Rob. That's where it all ties together.
I just want to make it clear real quick, Rob. I have no interest in the World Series. None. I barely watched the NLCS. Like, I tried. I was hoping, hey, Milwaukee can hang in there. They got dog walk. So, there's no point. And then even tomorrow, there's a Game 7. There's a freaking Game 7.
Are you watching?
Yes. No. I'm watching Monday Night Football tomorrow.
Why not? It might be the last competitive game we have this season.
Yeah.
But no, first off, to Moon's point, people, I don't know if they're going to be looking so much at the gates. And yeah, the gates were up. They've had pretty good attendance the last couple of years. The thing that's going to dictate everything is going to be TV contracts. And if that money starts going away, then things will change for sure. And not for nothing, too. And this is, we'll put a pin in this one for a later date. I think it's very interesting that Banana Ball, we have the Savannah Bananas and their cast of characters. They're expanding up to, I think it's 8 teams now. Cleveland has a date. Cincinnati has a date this year. They're expanding up to 8 teams and having their own league. Exactly timed out right about 4 months before the labor contract and possible Armageddon in Major League Baseball could hit. I wonder if these guys are thinking a couple of years ahead going, we might be the only show in town. And I wonder if that's going to impact how fast Major League Baseball is going to get to the table and want to get something done. So
my last thought on this, to add to Rob's point about the television, 2028, all the network national deals are up. NBC, which is already going to be broadcasting NBA games, they're going to get Sunday Night Baseball next year.
Yeah, because ESPN doesn't want is homeless at this point.
Well, ESPN,
which is not good for a network when one of your big properties is kind of without revenue.
ESPN is still airing games next year. It's just they're just doing like a midweek package.
Yeah, well,
they're still going to have games. But NBC is doing Sunday Night Baseball next year in Peacock. So you're going to have more of that. Netflix is doing the Home Run Derby next year, and they have Yankees and Giants. So the point is, can they get television in line before the lockout next year? Like that will be huge. And what Commissioner Rob Manfred, what he wants to do, going back to your guys' point about the regionals, I think Eli brought up a point about how much the Dodgers were making, with Spectrum, with their regionals versus here in Cleveland.
Yeah, 135 million to about 55.
Right. Rob Manfred is going to try to have all 30 Major League Baseball teams to be under one unit.
All
in terms of
NFL.
regional.
You know, the Browns don't negotiate their TV contract. The NFL does.
Good effing luck with that. Now,
That's going to be tough. That's going to be very, very tough.
Again, tough. It's going to be
the other thing is, too, is
impossible.
baseball, when it comes down to radio and especially TV, you know, well, especially radio, but TV too. We are so regionalized. We like our guys. We like Tom Hamilton. We like Matt Underwood. We like Rick Manning. We like Jim Rosenhaus. We like the dudes we like hearing. And if it's going to be random team of the week, like, you know, Spiro Adidas and Adam Archuleta or whoever coming on in, that could be a little fun.
No. It's still gonna be the guys you see now. You're still gonna see those guys, still gonna hear those guys. What I'm talking about, they want to sell the regionals as one package.
That's going to be tough because
as one.
Because New York ratings points are worth a little bit more than Cleveland, than Austin, than wherever. So that's going to be kind of tough to pull off. But yeah, I do hand it to Manfred for trying to get some sort of stability with this TV money, because with these RSNs pulling out at the last second, you know, and, you know, the Guardians counting on $55 million that isn't there anymore, that can't help things out. So, you know, we got to basically figure out a way to get some of these teams on a level playing field where, you know, they're kind of playing the same game. I mean, I think I said it last week, I'm getting tired of every time we're in the playoffs feeling like we're fighting two classes above our weight. That's what it always feels like and that's why Moon, and I hate to, you know, and I know we just talked Cavs too. That's why I had the two different barometers for each team, is because, you know, with the Guardians, it always kind of seems like they are the little guy, no matter how well they do, no matter what the results are. You know, we got Jose Ramirez and a bunch of guys. They, you know, the Dodgers have who we just named. So, you know, I kind of always give them a little bit more credit, and, you know, I always kind of give them the benefit of the doubt when they're fighting a good fight. But, you know, with the Cavaliers, you know, again, complete opposite of the spectrum. It's the most expensive team in the league, and they got all the talent in the world. So, you know, but that's why I always kind of give the Guardians credit, because they're really not playing the same game as a lot of these great teams that they are playing in the playoffs.
Well, Rozycki, and I hear you. I will say this. I thought about getting on the show this week, and I know I've been doom and gloom with the Guardians, and I wanted to at least say one uplifting thing about this next upcoming season for the Guardians, though it may be ultimately inevitable with the 120-win Dodgers season and a World Series sweep, as you already predicted. But Travis Bazzano,
not just World Series, playoff sweep. They're going to go.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to get the number one seed. They're going to win 3. They're going to win 4, and then they're going to win 4.
All I'm saying is, if there's a player to get me bought back in, as stupid as it sounds, it's Travis Bazzano. I'm just saying, Travis Bazzano for opening day lineup, and I might just be bought back in. He's got like the swagger, but the thing is, they won't pay him. They won't pay him if he does well. God.
That conversation is 7 years away. We're fine.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Time is a circle.
Well, and also too, do we even know in a year is arbitration going to be a thing?
Fair. Okay.
You know, again, the NBA went to a normal, you know, from a normal cap into this damn apron thing that nobody really knows. Maybe I think the reason why the Thunder and the Cavaliers are doing better than almost everybody right now is because they probably have 2 of the 7 GMs in the league that actually understand this shit. So who knows? But yeah, we can talk baseball throughout this off season too. We'll see what happens with the World Series, free agency. If the Guardians do anything of note, we'll talk about it. And if they don't do anything of note, we'll talk about it.
We go hot stove.
At this point, we might have to get a hot stove podcast going. I think I could run a baseball festivity for about 45 minutes a week, and we can handle this no problem.
You guys can take care of that.
Yeah, we'll handle it. Well, keep in mind, too, longtime listeners of the show going all the way back to our broadcast school days must be reminded that during our first couple shows, I had to remind or inform AA Anthony Alford right out there, and then Moon on the over there, that Ty Cobb was in fact dead.
Okay.
Won the 1909 batting title. I had to let you guys know.
It was a mistake, dude.
No longer with us. Rest in power.
Rob, send us the break, bro.
Nah, I own that.
All right.
I own that. Is he still alive today?
No, he died. I think it was in 1963.
Oops, my bad.
Yeah, that was even before I was born. So
double A, less is
52
more.
years, my bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
Does he
But
have
yeah,
children?
we'll put a pin in the baseball podcast. We'll figure out what's going on. I'm sure we'll have
Does
any
he have
announcements from the
nephews?
Inside Edge Network. But up next, we got the
Nieces?
final segment of the show. We're going to go through some news and notes, figure out what the hell we learned today, and then get you guys going on your merry way. We got the Amish one, Eli Moon. We have the Fresh Prince cast member, Anthony Alford, and I'm the bald old guy, Rob Rozycki. We'll be right back here on the
next year.
What's up? I couldn't hear you.
Which team is he going to play for next year?
Who?
Your guy who
your bald old guy. Oh,
the Dodgers. The Dodgers going to win 120 games.
We'll see what's happening. I got the Guardians hat pretty close to me too, just in case the breeze shifts in any direction. But yeah, we're gonna take a break. Smoke them if you got them. Grab a drink. We'll be right back here in a couple minutes. Figure out the end of this show again. I'll go through some news and notes. Figure out what the hell we learned today. And then we'll get you going on your way. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. We will be back.
Nix will take it himself on 1st and 10. Blocked by Bowles. Touchdown, Denver! The Broncos have their first lead today.
Yeah, that was that was their first lead of the day. I think there was 6 more scores after that one. The Broncos ended up winning that game 33-32 over the New York Football Giants. And that'll start off our news and notes here real quick. Double A enlightened us on a hell of a stat that might not make Brian Dable, the Giants head coach, look all that great. This is the this is the main event here on the inside.
Come on.
Sorry,
Rozycki, hold on.
I don't have a
Rozycki,
problem.
hold on, Rozycki, we're understanding this. Let me. Everybody in their places. Everybody in their places. Ready? Action.
All right. Yeah. Main event here. Rob Rozycki, Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. And,
so upset. Stop. Eli, you're going to get a talking to after the show, man.
I have no idea what we're doing. You called an audible about 2.5 minutes before we got back on the air. Apparently, we're going to be talking a little bit of the Giants and Broncos, which was a hell of a game. And you did share a stat with the group chat here off air, correct? Double A, I wasn't hallucinating that.
No, I have it here.
Here you go.
I'll bring it back here. So
I was going to pitch it to you because it was your stat. I could read a cell phone too, no problem.
No. NFL teams have won 1,602 straight games when leading by 18 plus points in the final 6 minutes. The Giants led 26-8 with 6 minutes remaining, and Denver came back to win 33-32. So they broke a 1,600 game streak.
Not only did Denver come back, but then New York came back again, and then Denver came back again. So,
and Rozycki, for somebody who has Bo Nix as their fantasy football quarterback, I was having a great day. I was having a bad day, then I was having a good day, just like the Broncos. Then I was like, man, dude, like, is Bo Nix legit? I don't know. Like, I mean, I know that's a discussion we're going to have probably down the line, but like, the Broncos are exciting, and the Giants are exciting too. Like, the Giants, you can't say they suck. Like, their record, you would think they suck, but they don't suck.
Well, I mean, you got Jackson Dart and Scatteroo there right now. And that's kind of revitalized that team. And, you talk about Bo Nix, 50 attempts today, 27-50 overall, a couple of touchdowns and no interceptions, kind of like Dylan Gabriel here. And that's what I was going to kind of say is if you're a Browns fan and you want Gabriel to do well, you're looking completely at the Bo Nix model. You are looking at a quarterback who's doing enough to manage the game and win games, not doing anything that's going to wreck his team. And hopefully the head coach involved, the guy who's running the offense, will know what to do and guide him in the right direction. That's what Dylan Gabriel is going to be trying to do, and that's what Bo Nix is doing right now. Grant you, Sean Payton, probably a little bit more of a developed offensive mind than even Kevin Stefanski, but still, that's what you're looking for.
Well, and you have 2 games now with Denver where they were down, and 2 comebacks. Of course, Denver beating Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. So that, and then of course now with the Giants, and you guys are right, the Giants are a really good football team now that Russ isn't starting.
Keep in mind, we're talking about a 2-5 squad, so we are.
But
they didn't have the Russell Wilson era to deal with too.
I will add this real quick, Double A, real quick. The Giants were a Dallas Cowboys shootout game away from that being a coin flip. They had a win possibly there. And this game really should have been theirs. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. It isn't. But go ahead, Double A. I just want to address
no,
it.
You're right. I mean,
the Browns.
I'm not a Giants fan. I don't care about how well they do or if they can't. I know Brian Dable's not a Russell Wilson fan based on his reaction last week. I thought that was hilarious. Denver's an exciting team. The game to watch next Sunday will be the Cowboys and Broncos. They have the late window on CBS next Sunday. That will be a shootout next Sunday. I can't wait to see it. I think those 2 teams in particular, Denver and in Dallas and a few others. I mean, they had impressive wins today. And, yeah, Bo Nix, I mean, look, he's growing up in front of our very eyes. You're seeing different guys in the Broncos offense really step up. And, J.K. Dobbins, is emerging as well.
Mm-hmm.
Denver is a great football team, and I am very happy as a Browns fan that the Denver Broncos is not on our schedule.
Well, and that's going to make things interesting over the next few years. Maybe not this year, but over the next few years for the Kansas City Chiefs, because and they're duplicating Tom Brady and Belichick's success by coming out of a fairly weak division pretty much year after year. That old AFC East was not doing much behind New England, and Kansas City's been kind of reaping the same benefits the last 7-8 years, having a team like the Broncos in there. And I know the Chargers lost today, but they seem to be trending up when it comes down to Harbaugh and Herbert being over there now. Having a couple of teams to keep Kansas City honest, and basically they would still be good. They're still going to be in the playoffs. But a good Broncos team might be the difference between home field advantage for a team like the Chiefs and actually having to play a first-round game. So anything to kind of weaken that up a little bit, I'm all for.
Not to put you guys on the spot, I should have done research myself. Are the Colts technically right now the number one seed in the AFC?
Yes.
Yes.
They're 5-1. Daniel Jones is the only one-loss starting quarterback in the league. Wow.
Yes. Jonathan Taylor, he's very good too.
Yes.
6-1. Excuse me.
6-1.
Oh yeah,
6-1 Colts.
You look at the AFC standings and you see, Pittsburgh and New England and Indiana up there. Like you're half expecting to turn on, NFL on CBS and see Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Ben Roethlisberger. We are definitely throwback standings right now for sure.
I'm ready for LT to run the football.
Yeah. Marty Schottenheimer blowing a game, going 15-1 and getting fired.
Hey, in the playoffs, right now he'd be great. Now he'd be great.
But it's definitely. And so it's definitely a topsy-turvy thing, and that's why, to take it back to the beginning of the show, you can't be completely dead on a Browns run, because the AFC, the NFL in general, is absolutely wide open. So who the hell? And we also see it happen every week too, where the Packers look amazing and then they lose to the Browns, or, we have these anomaly losses. The Steelers had one, against the Bengals. I understand Joe Flacco found the fountain of youth again and figured out that Jamar Chase was pretty good. But, that was a game that Pittsburgh, from the outset, if you were just looking at it, that's a win. So
Rob,
a lot of these happen every week.
Rob, since you brought it up, I have to ask you, are you upset with Andrew Berry?
No, because I got to look at it this way. Andrew Berry, okay, if he traded the Joe Flacco to the team that beat the Steelers and cost the Steelers a victory. If you want to say straight up that Andrew Berry cost the Steelers and Mike Tomlin a victory, I'll even give you that. As long as you give me the fact too that Pittsburgh and Cleveland have been playing twice a year, every year that Andrew Berry's been here, and he has given us far more wins than a damn Thursday nighter against Cincinnati in the middle of the season. I will take the 2 wins the Steelers have had in the bank against this damn Browns team, basically, for the last 30 years, if it means 1 loss here.
That's fine, but I guarantee Mike Tomlin, if he had his way,
he's pissed.
He would have drove up I-71 himself. Berea Friday morning.
Well, if he goes into Berea tomorrow morning, Mike McDaniel might be wandering around the complex right there looking for a damn job. But yeah, I can understand why he's pissed. And, and if you do want to look at it, and we don't have the video for it, it was a Monday presser, I believe, when he was talking about the trade. Mike Tomlin, if you notice, pre, post, everything, he is always very complimentary to his opponent. He doesn't want to give any bulletin board material to his, to whoever he's playing. So the starting quarterback's having a hell of a year. The head coach is a great offensive or defensive mind. He never says anything bad. For him to come out and kind of throw a shot at Andrew Berry for really no reason, that Double A's right. And Mike Tomlin's pissed, and Mike Tomlin's like one of the top 2 or 3 NFL coaches I wouldn't want to piss off. So
that was the shot, because again, I'm just saying this real quick. if today's Browns score was flipped, if it was 30-6 Dolphins over the Browns today, like what Tomlin said would be one of the sound bites you would be hearing from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski if they were getting their walking papers.
And we would have been talking a lot more Joe Flacco.
And Baker tomorrow too. But yeah, I mean, and we'll see what happens. Honestly, with that, there are a lot of promising teams in the NFL. And again, I mean, we're only 8 weeks in right now. We still got a half a season to play.
Real quick, in the AFC in particular, I don't know if you can identify what I would term a middle class team right now through 7 weeks of play. Because and I would even say like the Chargers, I know they're 4-3, but the AFC West, the top 3 teams are really tight up at the top. You can make a case for any of the 3 that's at the top. The Colts are up there high. The Steelers are still up at the top, but there's a dog pile at the bottom with the Ravens, Browns, and Bengals right now. And then, in the AFC East, that's another thing. Like, even to go back to Eli's playoff point earlier on the Browns side of things, who can get in there as what I would term a middle-class 500 team now in the AFC?
Well, and that's why I disagree with you slightly here. I think there is a middle class, and I think the entire AFC is a middle class. You might have the Colts as an outlier right now with the 1 loss, but everybody else kind of seems in that pack, that New England, Denver, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Chargers, Jaguars, Chiefs, Bengals pack. Everyone kind of seems on the same playing field, and any 3 of those teams could be without a spot at the end of the year. And that's why, really to kind of take it back to the baseball stuff, that's why the Guardians had a chance, was because there was really no dominant team in the American League, and there was really no dominant team in this, the Central the last, couple months of the season. And the wide openness of that gave Cleveland a chance. That's what the Browns are going to kind of have to be hoping for, is that a lot of these other teams can just pick off each other in that middle class. You think about the fact that the Patriots are sitting at 5-2 right now. They're the 2 seed mathematically right now. If it were to end, everyone would be surprised, and the Patriots would be the 2 seed. But then, you got the, Patriots, Denver, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, the Chargers, the Jags, and the Chiefs all have 2 or 3 losses. That's 8 teams. So there is a huge middle class, and I think the reason why you're not seeing it as a middle class is because I think it's the entire league. There's not one great team. The Chiefs might be. They got Rashid Rice. They won a couple of games. They beat the vaunted Las Vegas Raiders. We all know how gangbusters they are. So they're now back, and they're never going to lose again. So they might be a team, but right now, and I know then Indiana 6-1, but at the same time, does anybody really trust that right now? They're doing great.
Well, until somebody puts down the Chiefs in the playoffs. I know in a couple of weeks, Chiefs and Bills are going to face off, and the Bills are undefeated against the Chiefs in the regular season. Lately, but come playoffs, how many Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs matchups have we seen in the playoffs where no matter what, the Chiefs come through? Dolphins and Chiefs. No matter what, Chiefs are going to come through. So if you do mention that they're all middle class, and the Chiefs are in the playoffs, the Chiefs could be a 7th seed and still be favorites until they lose.
Yeah. Double A, could you say that some of these teams freeze up like Rozycki does sometimes during these moments?
Yeah, especially around midnight.
Just freezes up and we lose them. But no, and that's the thing. I kind of agree with you though, Double A. There is a middle class. Or excuse me, not a middle class, but I guess really just there's not a section of all right teams. I lean more so with you. Records are deceiving sometimes. And I think much like what I said, the Giants 2-5 record is deceiving. A lot of these above 500 records for some of these AFC teams are deceiving. And I think, we're going to see that. I think there's like 3 really strong teams in the AFC right now. The Colts have kind of shown us that they are for real. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. And I think it's kind of a toss-up right now. But, I say either the Steelers or the Bills. Those are some teams that are strong. Rozycki, perfect timing. I was just talking about how, we were talking about how the Chiefs, when these other teams go up against them, they freeze up sometimes. We said kind of like you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet right now. It seems like whenever we get into the final act of the show, it just kind of wants to take a break. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it might be just be nature's way of saying wrap it up, assholes, or what. But we still got a few more minutes here. We can, if you want to keep talking a little bit of the, playoff picture right now, especially in the AFC, we can. Or we can start news and notes. We can get this.
Let's get it. Let's get
news and notes. Let's go.
Here. Okay. Yeah, we've got a couple of stories here, and I left a couple away from you here. Let me get my my cheaters on here to figure out what's going on.
Heck yeah. Let's go.
I left a couple away from you here too to see get a kind of an instant reaction here. One thing we did not talk about in our pre-show meeting. Yeah, you can go with that, Double A. Good job. Let me pull it up.
Hold up, I was watching Baker Mayfield's rookie videos yesterday. So,
okay, good job. Well, I can
How would you do that to yourself?
What the hell's happening? One thing I did not say with you guys, while apparently attention spans are running thin now in hour 2 of the show. If we want to go on the news and notes here, I don't know if you guys saw this one here locally. It was out of Ohio. We got a high school athlete, Jameer Brown. He's a football player. It looks like he's on a Ohio State track, top 10 recruit in the country kind of thing. He is filing a lawsuit right now. He is a current junior in high school. He is filing suit with the Ohio Athletic High School Commission here, Association, about name, image, and likeness. Right now, Ohio, I believe, is one of the 7 states in the country. 43 states have it, where high school kids are under the same jurisdiction that college kids are with getting paid for your name, image, and likeness. For we see it happen all the time with Ohio State, with Bama, that kind of thing. But now it looks like it could be coming to Ohio. I would think sooner than later. Much like legalized gambling, much like legal marijuana. There's too many states right now that are on board for Ohio to kind of ignore this. And it's going to definitely change high school athletics here in Ohio. I know, Double A, you work a lot. You were a coach. You are broadcasting high school football games now. It's going to definitely change the landscape of high school sports here in Ohio if we're talking about what we're talking about. And again, I want to make it clear, according to his lawyer, this is not a nickel and dime thing. This is not a paper route after school for $100 a week. This is 6-figure trading card deals, shoe deals, all that kind of nature. So, at this rate, though, it looks like I would be shocked if NIL is not a thing this time in 6 months, this time in a year in Ohio.
Real quick, what exactly is he suing for?
He wants to sell his name, image, and likeness.
Okay.
He wants to make money off being Jameer Brown, being an Instagram influencer, and all of that crap.
I got you. He's suing the OHSAA.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of a lot of times, obviously, how quickly and what exactly is available and the percentages. So that's really going to be the big thing. I'm sitting here just saying, man, we're going to get NIL before they institute a shot clock in high school sports here in Ohio.
That's kind of funny.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. And give me 20 seconds to go on a quick rant about why we do not have a shot clock in high school basketball, where all we see with some of these offenses is just these teams, they just got to hold the basketball.
The
four corner offense, eat up the entire quarter, and you only see like 2 possessions. And everywhere
like they're trying to win the 1952 national championship. Yeah.
Right. And everywhere else in basketball, you have a shot clock, games moving. I think it's ridiculous. But going back to the NIL thing, it's bound to happen. I mean, we see everywhere communities They make a ton of money with Friday Night Football, and it's great enjoyment. We all love it. I cover it, of course, and I enjoy it every single week. But I've yet to hear from any fan in high school or college. This headline: star quarterback misses a game against top rival because he wants extra time to study for an exam. And people not get up in arms about that. We expect these players to play. We expect them to play, and they should be paid for it.
And and this is why I'm torn, because I completely see the side that you're talking about, Double A, is that there's a lot of coaches, a lot of schools, a lot of businesses making money off these kids, and having these kids do what they're doing for free is, and I don't like to use this strong of a word, but it is slavery. You are working for no wage. You are working for experience. You are working for later opportunity. You are not working for any sort of currency, any sort of financial compensation. So I do understand, if you're going to monetize this crap, then you better pay the people are buying a ticket to see. I understand that completely. And in modern college, high school sports in 2025, that's the reality. But when is too young for this? I understand, okay, that college quarterback who is blowing off a chemistry exam because he has to get ready for the big rival coming up on Saturday. That's one thing. He's on a pro track. He's going to get drafted. If he's injured, he'll get drafted low. If he's not, he'll get drafted high. There's a billion different things that could happen to a high school kid that will make him not go into Division I sports or star in Division I sports and then go into the NFL or NBA or wherever he wants to go. These schools are there to prep these kids for real life. Now, if you do want to go to a football factory down in Florida, if you do want to go to any of these private schools that are literally just keeping you in class long enough and then to be legal and then move you on to practice, I get it. Okay, that's your choice.
A lot of those
right now,
kids are
we're
doing
talking
that,
about
though.
public schools, and we're talking about real, like, normal everyday life here. And if we got half the football team blowing off classes because they're collecting a check on Friday, that's going to change things. The other thing too, and there's also two other things, well, three things. Based on the whole idea of how young is too young. This kid, Jameer Brown, I don't know anything about him except for the fact that he's suing the NCAA and he's a high school football player, or he's suing OSHA. I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about his parents. I don't know anything about his economic circumstances. But dollars to donuts, if they're talking six figures, we are now asking a high school junior who is 16, 17 years old to be the primary breadwinner for his family, to be the one that has to perform every week, or literally his siblings are not eating, or his parents aren't making a house payment. That's a lot to throw on a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid. And if you don't believe me, ask Britney Spears, ask Amanda Bynes, ask any of these Hollywood folks that are doing the same thing just in front of a camera. The other thing I'm worried about, too, is competitive balance. This is going to help out the big Catholic schools more than anybody else. Are you meaning to tell me, and I won't even use St. Ed's right now, because they're dominating, they're doing their thing. Say Holy Name, say Ignatius, two schools that haven't been traditional powers the last 10 years or so. They have fallen on hard times. There is going to be an alumni a la Phil Knight in Oregon that's going to say, hey, I own a car dealership. I own a law firm. I'm a local whatever here. I am a pillar of the community. Here is $500,000. Build your team and bring back whatever program's glory from the olden days. That is in a Catholic school, and you're talking about these big alumni bases. The chances of that happening are a whole lot bigger than, say, Brunswick High School, or and even that's a big school. But any of these, any schools that don't have that kind of size. The other thing too, it's going to be a weird dynamic for a high school coach to be working with a quarterback making more than him. And I know we deal with that in college and in the pros, but do we really want to deal with that in high school too? But again, all the way back, I understand what you're saying, Double A. These kids have to get paid for what they do.
At the end of the day, here's what it comes down to. We are put on this earth just to get real human being with it. We are put on this earth to use our talents, use our abilities. We all at one point went to broadcasting school, and we did it to get in some sort of media or whatever. And here we are now, 10 years later, talking, right? But we did that. We would have loved to have been getting paid when we were doing this 5 days a week back 10 years ago. But we had to go through and work our way up, all of that. I think it would have been much more rewarding if we were like, dang, we're getting paid for what we're bringing in value. And I don't think he should. And I get you brought up both points, Rob, but at the end of the day, here's where I stand on it. He should get paid because the school is making money, to Double A's point, on Friday Night Lights. They're making money. He should be able to market himself on whatever he is doing outside of off the field is his brand. That is his brand. Well, so he is allowed to market himself however he wants and should make money off of it.
I'll let you go Double A real quick here, but to reinforce your point and to agree with Double A and you here, we were, as broadcast students, Double A was getting paid by iHeartMedia while he was doing our show at the tail end.
Yeah,
we were all encouraged to go out and find work even while we were in school.
Right.
When I was a theater student, I was making money doing summer stock theater when we weren't in class. I was encouraged to go out there and make those connections and make those relationships. So athletics is really the only thing in this country where you have to be a certain age to be able to capitalize on your talents.
Yeah.
This topic deserves more than 15 minutes. I mean, this is its own show, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
A few things to respond to what you guys are saying. Number one, I think on the OHSAA side of things, they have to include in some way, shape, or form the educational component of money management and business management. I think ultimately business management, all of that stuff needs to tie in, because all of a sudden, if once NIL goes into play, it's a case of when, not if.
They should be teaching money management to every student, regardless of athletic ability.
They should be. In the field of education, to be brutally honest, the one thing about adulthood that we've learned, a lot of the stuff about business management and trades and things, there should be a bigger emphasis on that stuff anyway than the educational system prepared us for OGTs or whatever,
and imaginary numbers and that bullshit.
Yeah, like none of that stuff matters. Like,
your average 19-year-old knows the Pythagorean theorem, but doesn't know how to do their taxes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, okay, cool. We need to know what the periodic table. Yeah, sure, fine. I will say this though, on top of everything, and I think this is huge. I think it is key. And I think Rob has a bit of a point here with the Catholic schools versus the public. Local community could, let's just say, I'm here in Bedford, right? The local community here in Bedford or local business in Bedford could draw in a top quarterback, play for Bedford, right? That business or that community, if you're in Bedford, you can only go to Bedford High, right? But Ed's, Nations, Holy Name, they can recruit anywhere, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if you have to be living in the state technically to play for Eds.
No. And actually, all you need is an address. All you need is somebody who has a address in Ohio, and they can play as well. So I do the NIL thing in terms of competitive balance with Catholic schools. I do think that could be an issue that I personally haven't really thought about. But I think that is legitimate. I think.
Because the alumni base of St. Ed's can put together a lot more revenue than
Carmen Angelo. Your coworker, could easily, if there's an NIL, could easily.
Yeah. Oh, he might just sign his paycheck right on over.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, but how many of those guys is St. Ed's going to have compared to, say, Austin Town or, something in the middle of, Mansfield or whatever here that doesn't have that kind of wealth to it. And, like the one thing, and we got to close the loop on this story. Because again, we could go on this for another hour. I hope that when the time comes that NIL does become a reality in Ohio, that they don't handle it like the NCAA did and just keep their heads in the sand and not put any regulations on it and not want to deal with it, because that's how you get the Wild West. That's how you get what's happening in college football right now, where teams are spending $50, $80, $100 million on rosters and firing coaches after 3 losses. So, like, they need to put some sort of regulation on it and do, put some sort of cap and mandatory education. I completely agree with that. That's why they're there, the whole school thing. So, yeah, I mean, they definitely need to do this intelligently as opposed to just the NCAA way and just turn on the spigot and just let the whole thing fill up.
So basically they got to actually do something instead of do nothing.
Yeah, and I know that's a big thing from any sort of Ohio administrators or really any sort of national administrators too. So, yeah, good luck with that.
Rozycki,
Moon, you have a closing thought on this one before we move on here?
just pay the damn man. Just pay him.
I agree with that. Yeah,
you're right though. 6 figures is nuts.
Yeah,
yes,
we're talking.
Yes, it is. But I guess like my final point. So I guess my final point is like that's a lot, and they should look at it based off the schools, like always said, and you mentioned it, Rob, like the return on investment, like what like the value it brings back to the school. But he should get paid. Like at the end of the day, it's like I just think I don't know.
You guys know where this is going to go. Hold up. You guys know where this is going to go, though. Football player gets paid. Basketball player got to get paid.
Oh, yeah.
Got to get
100%.
paid.
And depending on the school, I mean, I know there's schools out there that have great soccer teams, that have great cross country, that have great wrestling. Yeah, just like you see in the NCAA, where there are like Tennessee will give out NIL in baseball because they're that good.
If we're dedicating a ton of things on football, some of those other sports and your favorite high schools will no longer exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna Title IX is gonna get in the way and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna change high school sports in Ohio for sure. But yes, this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting. Now we're just going over some news and notes right now. Spent a long time on that one. We might have to save a couple of these for a later date here. One I did see too, and I know we talked a little basketball. The Houston Rockets did not come up, but they were in the news the last couple of days. I'm sure everybody here saw 104-year-old Kevin Durant gets a 2-year extension in Houston. $45 million per, which the crazy thing is that wasn't the max. He left about $20 million on the table, or at least $15 million on the table. But I bring that up to bring this up. Kevin Durant, we can always talk about how he won his titles or who he won them with, and when it was up to him, how many titles he didn't win. Yes, of course, we can talk about his legacy on the court. But this will now, assuming some of the new deals aren't signed relatively soon, that puts Kevin Durant in the NBA business Hall of Fame undisputed GOAT. With this contract and the other new $90 million on the table, Kevin Durant will eclipse $583 million in career earnings in the NBA. A straight up $500 million.
Well, I mean, he is the top 3 best player of our generation. And that, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm rooting for KD, man. And I know that's not a popular take here in Cleveland, but I'm rooting for KD, man. I'm rooting for him in Houston. I hope him and Russ team up. It is what it is. I mean, does it suck? Yeah. But you know what else sucks? That after all those title, championship, finals, battles, LeBron left again. So it's like choose your struggle. Like, I'm not going to be mad at Kevin Durant when LeBron didn't even want to stay here and try to battle it out. So, you know what? I hope KD, top 3 player of our generation, enjoys his new $90 million. And Yeah, that's all I got to say. I know not a popular take, but like, are we like? Come on, man. Double A.
No, no,
Come
no, no. He a bum for doing that. No, he ruined. No, man. I ain't. All right, if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say anything at all. I hope things go well with him and Kay Adams.
Wait, him and Kay Adams or?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
This is when I stopped
He
getting
invited her to the barbecue. He was like, "Hey, you gotta come to one of my games. You gotta come to one of my games." So
I mean,
you gotta watch him and Kay Adams. You spin game. You try and mad respect. He did admit that he used a burner account on Twitter, and
I love it when he's going after Anthony Edwards and he brings up all the baby mamas and security suits. That is legitimately hilarious.
All kidding aside, I love KD's game on the floor. I do. He is a generational player.
He's a professional bucket. If you need a bucket, that dude is better than anybody ever.
If from a business standpoint, you know what he is a master at? When you mentioned like the career earnings, and Eli will understand this since he works in the cell phone business. He is somebody who maximizes on deals. And what I mean by that, when you have a cell phone contract, when the time's up, you actually save money when you go to another carrier.
Yep.
And then when that deal's up, you go to another carrier. And then when that deal's up, you come back home and you start fresh again.
You get that new love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get that new love. And like Katie's just getting that new love. And like that's what it is. Like
that's right.
I cannot be mad. I cannot be mad, Rozycki. I cannot be mad.
I'm mad at him on the court. I mean, but yeah, these guys are making more money than God no matter what. So I'm not mad about that. I do want to ask you though, while we are talking about this, if you wanted to just guess here, and I have the top career earners of all time in front of me. How many out of the top 5 can you get correct? And top 6. I'll give you KD as the number 1. But if you guys could figure out who the other 5 are.
Well, all time or right now, currently?
I got all time right here in front of me.
I mean,
come on, Double A. We can do this. You said KD is not in the top 5?
No.
KD's 1. But I gave you
one.
That
He's 1.
Yeah, I gave you that one.
LeBron?
No, LeBron.
Yeah, him and LeBron are the only 2 guys to eclipse $500 million on the court.
Okay, that's Rozycki putting us on the spot like this. This is crazy work. Steph Curry,
number 3, $470 million.
Giannis?
I was about to say Giannis.
The only reason why Giannis isn't higher, he's 14. He's only played 12 years.
And this is career earnings.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Shaq. Yeah.
Most of these guys are relatively going right now. Actually, I am the entire top 15 I'm seeing right now are all active, and I don't think that's correct. It might just be active guys' career earnings. Let me see if I can. Let's see.
Rozycki's pulling a Roddy Piper just when we thought we knew all the answers. That way it changes the questions. Damn it.
No, I got all time here. I got all time.
That just tells you how much they've been paying. Remember when
Shaq
Bill
is
McGee got paid?
27th all time at $286 million.
Rob, who did you just say?
Shaq is 27th all time at $287 million.
They're still playing right now, and they just got paid.
Most of the career leaders are active or were active relatively recently.
Luka Doncic.
No, he hasn't played long enough yet. Let me see.
Not a lot of service time. Oh, I know who's on that list. Kawhi Leonard.
Go ahead. That's a good one. And I got it. And I got the follow up. I think we got them both in the same one. Paul George. I'm throwing Paul George.
Well, yeah, Kawhi sitting at number 8 at $375 million. I don't know if that counts the aspiration money or not. Well,
I was gonna say if we're talking total earnings, he might be number 2. See,
what did you say, Moon?
Kawhi Leonard is number 1 as side hustle money.
Yep.
We know that we know of. That we know of.
Yes.
I'll take this quick moment, Rozycki. While you look him up, Paul George was my guess.
5.
Take this.
Paul George is number 5.
406.
No. No.
Wow.
Okay.
You are
Okay.
forgetting number 4 here. He was very good at getting paid, but not very good at showing up in the playoffs ever.
Ben Simmons?
James Harden.
Oh, James Harden. James Harden,
number
starts
4.
getting weird.
He has been paid $411 million to not make the conference finals or NBA finals. But yeah, it's LeBron, KD, Curry, James Harden, Paul George. You did not mention, and I did kind of give you a little bit of a hint here on number 6. Service time was an issue. At 20 years, Chris Paul. And in those 20 years, he's made about $400 million.
So I'm like, what's that about? What's that about?
Bitching and moaning to the refs.
Mm-hmm. Then you have Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Dame Lillard is number 10, Russell Westbrook is 11, and Kyrie Irving is number 12 at $347 million, which is the same exact amount of money, roughly, that LeBron made from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Look, Kyrie's one of my favorites, man. I'm hoping they have a good year. I'm hoping he has a good run in Dallas this year. Cooper Flag, Dallas.
Well,
Anthony
I know Kyrie's
Davis.
to start. I know he's injured to start the season, but yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a babyface arc again with Kyrie Irving?
We forgot. Everyone kind of just stopped caring that he was crazy. Everyone was like, okay, he's just nuts. There's far more crazier people out there that are far more destructive. We got to move on to those guys.
You know what, Rob? In 2025, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Rozycki, you got any more news stories for us?
Yeah, we got time for one more, and one more that we have to bring up too. We did get some sad news in round about the 4:00 window. Adam Schefter had it. The Tampa Bay Bucks, of course, had it. Doug Martin, the former All-Pro running back, most fantasy owners who were active in the aughts knew him very, very well between Tampa and I think a year with the Raiders. But yeah, we're talking a couple of Pro Bowls and an All-Pro nomination here. About 5,000 career yards in the NFL when it was all said and done with. Passes away, all the team said was suddenly at the age of 36, which is basically smack dab in the middle of me and AA. So that always, I'm sure, makes us feel really cozy and warm inside. But yeah, we're now another running back, another NFL player gone way too soon.
Yeah, it's just sucks, man. Prayers and just sending blessings to his family and his loved ones and people that he had a relationship with. Definitely remember Doug Martin, Jameis Winston years, those crazy looking Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniforms. And yeah, man, just sucks. So yeah, so keeping his loved ones in my prayers here.
Yeah, and again, we shared on behalf of the show and the network. We don't know
anything. The
cause of death. We don't know that at all.
We know it was sudden. That's it.
It's mid-30s. It's just nuts. I was watching Ohio State, Wisconsin over the weekend, and they had a graphic of recent Ohio State quarterbacks, and I see Dwayne Haskins on there, and I think my heart sinks. Thinking about these athletes every week. I know we just did the high school story, but at the end of the day, everybody that we cover, they're people. And
and we forget about that a lot.
We don't know what's going on. We don't know anything about that, but you just hope and pray that all these athletes, entertainers, public officials, everyone, once their career is done, and they're privileged to be able to retire in their 30s,
physical prime,
that they could live that post life to the fullest, man. So yeah, our thoughts to the Martin family. That's a tough story to hear.
Stuff like this, it reminds us that you're just right. With these guys are human beings. It's whenever we see a guy on a football field get, blown up on a big hit, or, anything like that, somebody, walking out, getting, stretchered out with a towel over their head and, their knees wrapped up. we kind of forget that, that dude's life has now completely and utterly changed for the next, anywhere between year to year and a half. Even something this dumb, we were talking about it last week with the way that the playoffs ended for the Phillies. That pitcher who bobbled the ball and ended up costing the series. I saw a video, from last year. It was, hey, reminder, these guys are people too. And it was the crowd shot of his debut and his mom and his dad and his brother up there just crying. He's made it. That was a very human moment for this kid. And, it's very easy just to kind of look at him and say, F you, get your head out of your ass. We talk about it all the time with Stefanski. I was blowing up the left tackle or the right tackle for the Browns. I'm sure he knows that he had a bad game too. And he didn't play well, and he's probably looking at himself in the mirror and figuring out if he's doing the right thing with his life. And then, you bring up the fact that, all of a sudden you're done. You were a literal superhero for, most of your adult life. And now all of a sudden you're back to being Clark Kent. And again, we don't know what happened with Doug Martin or anybody like that, or with that situation. But being reacclimated to civilian life again and being a normal person and, having to go to a job and pay bills and worry about the mundane stuff in life, that can be a big change. And sometimes, athletes do forget that they're not superhuman, that they're not immortal. And Haskins, I think, was one of them that kind of ended, that way too. So it's just something that, kind of reminds us that, as fun as this crap is, and as much as we like yelling at bad players and blowing up bad teams, these guys are people. These guys are human beings. They got wives, they got kids. Some of them have husbands. Who am I to judge? And they got parents watching them too. So, they're just like us. They want to do well. They're trying to do a good job every day. And sometimes they don't do it. And at least we have the luxury of not getting yelled at by a few million people when we screw up at work. So, my thoughts and prayers are definitely with him. And it's a very humanizing moment for everybody in the NFL.
I will, to bring this on a lighter note before we do the what would you learn, can you imagine, man, Browns play bad, Cavs play bad, your favorite team plays bad. And instead of talking about it on a podcast or on sports radio, we send a disappointing email to the employer. Dear Jimmy.
That stuff. Disappointing emails to your employers. That was when the whole Charlie Kirk thing was happening. I knew about that a little bit too well. So we do understand that.
I bet.
Still here though. Not dead yet. But that's so. But it's a bad story, and obviously we're moving on here. Do we want to go over things that we have learned this week, today, this very hour at all? Do we want to figure out what we learned today, gentlemen?
I got something.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody looks very confident in what he has here.
Well, it's not like a hot take or anything like that. Real quick, honorable mention. Ohio State won again, dominated again. Wisconsin and, Luke Fickell. That might be the end of his run in the next couple of weeks. And congrats.
Yeah, they're going to need a DC soon when Patricia gets fired or moves up to another job. So,
Congrats to Ohio State, the defending national champs that nobody cares about, nobody's talking about. There's people around the country and probably in Columbus are just waiting for the Michigan game and waiting for the playoff run because that's where we're at in college football. But Indiana is the number 2 ranked team in the country in college football. Can you believe that? The thing that I guess is more of what I'm going to learn this week. I am so excited about the new look NBA coverage that we're going to get this week. NBC and Prime Video are both new partners of the NBA. And I think for a long time, I've been very disappointed in how the NBA nationally has been covered. I think we've seen a lot of great play, but it's been dominated, not necessarily by like negativity, but it's been dominated by unnecessary personal feuds between commentators and players. Nobody is watching the NBA to see Stephen A. Smith have beef with LeBron. Nobody cares.
No, I don't watch it.
Like, nobody cares that they hate each other. I want to see the guys that's on the court actually competing. And NBC is going to have, and Prime, are going to have players that we, the three of us, have actually watched play basketball. You're going to see Tracy McGrady, Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, Carmelo Anthony, Steve Nash. You're going to see a whole bunch of guys who recently played the game, who understands the game, actually talk about the game and actually can relate to the style of play that you see today and basketball conversations that actually matter. Not to say that I don't like Inside the NBA, because that's actually staying with ESPN. Kenny, Shaq, Charles, and Ernie, they're going to still be around. So we get the best of both worlds. But you're going to see, and I'm so excited to actually witness current players or recently retired players, and Candace Parker as well, and Stan Van Gundy and others. Guys who understand today's basketball actually talk about today's basketball instead of pointless who's better between Michael Jordan and LeBron conversations for the 3,000th time. That's just effing useless with basketball commentary. I cannot wait to see these new networks embrace NBA basketball coverage this week.
That was a good one, Double A.
It kind of seems to, and hopefully they'll be able to kind of move away from, and you said negativity, and I kind of agree with you there, actually. I think that's the right word for it, because it seems like basketball is really the only sport where all of the old heads, all of the veteran players, all the retired guys will go out and just talk about how big of a piece of shit the game is today. You don't get that in really any other sport. And maybe with the change of networks, they can change that narrative a little bit and not be so pissy all the time.
Can you imagine watching First Take tomorrow morning and hearing the conversation in the A block? Will Patrick Mahomes ever catch Tom Brady? We don't hear that in football. We don't. I mean, yeah,
we hear that in football in the middle of July when they have nothing else to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear that in season.
No, but in basketball, no matter what LeBron does, no matter it comes down to the same conversation, and that's why the media was lost when OKC and Indiana was in the finals, because you spent all season having pointless conversations about legacy, something that you can't solve in season anyway, and then when your top stars are knocked out of the playoffs, all of a sudden we got to market Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, you got the entire country going, who the fuck is SGA? Yeah.
And we watch these guys. These are marketable guys. And Stephen A. Smith has nothing to talk about because in the A block of First Take during the NBA Finals, he's reacted to a stupid beef that he has with LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. Moon, I think you're going to be up next on this one, Slugger.
All right, thank you. So, what I learned this weekend is that I have approximately now, since we're past midnight, 11 days until my last show of the year. For those that may not know, I do make music. I'm sure you've caught on if you didn't know before this podcast started. It's right there, bada bing, bada boom. Eli Moon. But yeah, doing a Halloween show, last show of the year. If you come on out, you'll probably see the guys at the main event. Potentially see us all there in action. But I'm performing. Got a great lineup. We got my guy Gio, Cliche. I got Tori Medusa. We got Mark B. Easy. So plenty, King Grim, and Zumiaza. So you got a ton of guys. Just a lot of talent. And I'm super excited. Costume contest. I got a great costume this year. And the winner gets a prize. So yeah, what I learned this weekend is that I've done a lot of traveling, a lot of shows, and I'm excited for the last show of the year. Hope to see you fellas there. $10 to get in, and we're partying.
Yeah, you just
want. What day is it again?
That is on Halloween night, Double A, Friday, October 31st. So
yeah, 10/31.
Yep. If you're looking for some Halloween plans, you know to come party with. Like I said, if you haven't heard my music before, it's definitely fun, and the rest of the card is very dope. So
Eli's shows are a great time. They really are. I've been able to go to a few of those shows. They're great. Brothers Lounge is a phenomenal.
Yeah, at Brothers Lounge.
Location.
Yep. At Brothers Lounge over there in Lakewood. Thank you, Double. I don't know if I mentioned that. At Brothers Lounge in Lakewood.
Yeah,
that's probably a pretty good idea.
Okay, yeah, it's right across from my friends. Brothers Lounge. Yeah, that's my spot. The wings, the lemon pepper. Okay, come on now.
Yep, right. West 117th, Detroit.
Yep,
right in that area there.
Yeah, actually, I know one of the cooks there. He's a good dude.
Yes, heck yeah. Ooh, the wings are so good.
I never feel so old than when I feel when Eli Moon is running his the card of any of his music shows, because I just you kids and your music. I'll see what I can do. I am supposed to be escorting a entourage trick-or-treating around the neighborhood, but that goes till about 8. We will see what's happening after that.
Okay, all right.
But
all right.
Suburban life, yes, it does.
Can we please get details on how that went down?
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I haven't gone trick-or-treating probably since the 20th century, so we'll see what happens.
I'm just picturing Rozycki handing out candy to children.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, we'll be fine. All is well.
Who are you going as? Mike? Hey, who are you going as? Mike Patton?
I don't know. Maybe Lex Luthor. Actually, I do have a yellow shirt with a brown stripe that goes right through here. That if I take that off, all of a sudden I'm Charlie Brown. So hey, we're cool.
Rozycki,
what did I can just wear a t-shirt and jeans and be A-okay.
Yo, you should argue politics with children.
I pretty much do on Facebook anyway, so.
Rozycki, what did you learn this weekend, man?
I served you that one.
Yeah, you did. You put that right on the tee, and I just put that right over the fence. Thank you for that. We talked about it with the baseball, and I had a pretty cynical look towards it with the LA Dodgers just completely murking everybody, and they are. And I really do mean that. If they do, if it means them winning 2 more World Series in convincing fashion to convince the owners to put a cap in, then so be it. But that doesn't change all that cynicism, all that anger, all that jealousy straight up. I mean, I wish the Guardians had that kind of a payroll. All that doesn't change, though, that we are watching, and I don't like to say this about any current athlete. I mean, we get prisoner of the moment all the time. We saw it with Tom Brady. Mahomes now, if it's Jordan and LeBron, Lionel Messi, Michael Phelps, whoever. We are truly watching the greatest baseball player we have ever seen. This goes all the way. I don't give a shit what they were doing back at the Centennial in 1876. I don't care what they were doing during World War II. I don't care. This is literally the best performance we have ever seen, pretty much ever, from any player. And I'm even just talking about a single game performance. I'm sure you guys are figuring where I'm going with this. Shohei Ohtani, 3 for 3, 3 solo home runs and a walk, also doing 6 shutout innings on the mound, 10 strikeouts, 2 hit ball. The numbers that were pulled up since 1893, that's when the pitching mound went to 60 feet 6 inches. So we're talking, 130 plus years. 1,550 players have struck out 10 batters in a major league game. In that same stretch, 503 have had a 3 home run game. This is regular season or playoffs. Shohei Ohtani is the only one to do that in the same game. Only one. Ever. He is the only player to pitch in a World Series game that he is hitting leadoff for. And he's done that now a couple of times. He is the only player since Babe Ruth that has been this kind of dominant on the mound and in the batter's box. 50 home runs and a Cy Young arm. The only difference is that Babe Ruth didn't do it at the same time. If you look back on Babe Ruth's baseball reference page, you'll see that he only had about 3 or 4 appearances pitching for the Yankees, period. He was a pitcher in Boston and he was a hitter in New York. Ohtani right now at the age of 30 is doing both. And the fact that he's doing it on the most loaded team in the history of baseball shouldn't take away what he's doing right now, because their payroll's great. Their lineup's great, but they are the only team that has one roster spot being a 50 home run hitter and a Cy Young arm in one guy. And I don't know how long he's going to be able to do this at this kind of level. Again, he's getting to his 30s. That's typically when stuff starts breaking down. And then also, too, remember, last year he also stole 50 bases when he wasn't pitching. So this guy, pretty much whatever he wants to do on a baseball field, he can do. I'm sure if the Dodgers let him sell hot dogs during the 7th inning stretch, it would happen. And when we are watching that, it's very easy to look at the Dodgers and roll your eyes and see the payroll and see the killing baseball and all that stuff. But that doesn't change the fact that this is the greatest player we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Every team that had an opportunity, so I'm not lumping in the Guardians, but every team that had an opportunity to pick him up, go after him, and chose not to, ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Well, go back. You can search for it. I think it's on Ice. It's probably the most freezing cold take of freezing cold takes. There was a Sporting News tweet from 2018 saying that this guy is nothing more than a high school hitter.
Yeah, crazy. And I'll say this too. It's like my final point on all this, Rozycki. Like, you bring up Ohtani, he's such a beast. The best we've ever seen. And it's a shame that the Dodgers just keep bringing in likable guys. We're supposed to hate this team. That's my final point on baseball and the Dodgers, is we're supposed to hate this team, but they bring in all the likable guys. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. I like Kershaw. Why should I hate
Mazuhara, that guy too. You remember him? You remember him? Ipe?
Rozycki, are you trying to trap me right now?
No, he was Ohtani's bookie that went to jail.
Okay, that's right. I think that name sounds familiar. Okay,
so
look.
So if you want to hate Ohtani a little bit, you can remember that he just ducked out of a gambling scandal that
he
did not get out of the way for Emmanuel Clase or Luis.
Yeah, I was going to say Emmanuel Clase. We'd rather have him.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Roberts is trying to cut a heel promo, which we played earlier in the show, and it just it just didn't matter.
No, and he's a guy that he's a dude with the that had the stolen base for the Red Sox when they broke the curse in 2004. Yeah, we've liked him for years. By the way, too, incidentally, if you go back and if you think your team sucks, the 2016 San Diego Padres, it's a random team, and we'll part with this idea here. Bud Black was their manager. About 90 games, 80 games through the season, they weren't doing what they wanted to do. They fired their manager. They brought up their bench coach to coach for one game until the AAA manager could get up there. It was like one of the few times that they just raised up the manager from AAA. But in the meantime, their bench coach, Dave Roberts, had to manage one game for the Padres. After that, the AAA manager of El Paso, I believe, was the team that came up and took the team for the rest of the year. That guy was Pat Murphy, his opponent in the other dugout, current Brewers manager. So if you're keeping score at home, Bud Black, Dave Roberts, Pat Murphy, the Padres had three guys who won Manager of the Year, managed that team in 2016, and they came in fourth. You think you're bad. San Diego, I'm sure they're probably they probably have the same kind of feeling that we do about Baker Mayfield. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? It's a beautiful Monday morning, night. Let's have a great week, guys. We crushed it.
And the week has started. The week started 51 minutes ago.
Yeah, we crushed it. Thanks for everybody out there tuning in past the midnight hour. Rozycki, AA, it's always a pleasure.
Yes. Yep. For everybody here, for AA Anthony Alford, for Eli Moon, I am Rob Rozycki. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcast Network, and it has been for the last, it seems like, 3 hours or so. We will let you go start your weekend here. Start your week. And
don't get fired
we'll be joining you. I'm sorry?
Don't get fired this
Don't
week.
get fired this
Don't get fired this week, America.
I think yeah. Just keep your head down and get through it, and we'll get to another football weekend, and we'll have a whole lot more to talk about 7 days from now on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. This is the main event. I am Rob Rozycki, Anthony Alford in the middle, and then Eli Moon. He is the Amish-looking guy giving the peace signs We will see you later, and I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you when we see you.